Okay, that's good.
Cool.
I like the fact that my audio is being captured.
Yeah, I started recording. We're good. Hey, squad.
Wow.
Welcome to the VDL Season 4 Low Tier Victini Division Power Rankings. I'm here with a gamer person. I don't know why I sound like that.
Yo, what's going on?
I apologize for my voice. I have a little bit of a cold, but I don't think it's that noticeable. So we're gonna rock it. This is gonna be really like loosey goosey, low key. We're gonna look through every
Oh yeah.
team. We're gonna start. We're gonna look through them in order of the draft. So hopefully in the video I will actually have timestamps you can click to if you want to just look at your team, but you should watch the whole video. This might be a little long one, but that's fine. We're gonna rock with it. You see the
Yeah,
five
exactly.
tiers here right now. It is great team, minor tweaks, a few changes, need some works, and team overhaul. Mostly what we wanted to do with this is make it informational, while still having a bit of fun with it. But we're not gonna rank within each tier, but we are gonna put every team in there. So unless you have anything to say, gamer, I say we
Uh,
just get into it.
yeah, I think we're ready to go. Just don't be surprised if we say anything mean to your team.
Yeah, pretty
That's
much.
all I'm gonna say.
Um, some of these teams look great.
Don't take it hard though.
No. This will be fun.
All in good fun. All in good fun.
If you completely disagree with me, shout it out in the comments and just commit.
Yeah,
This will be
yeah,
fun.
exactly.
So we're gonna start with
Or in the Discord server.
yeah. That's a
Join
good
the
point.
VDL's Discord.
I
Yeah.
will have a link to the server and anyone in Victini who wants a link to like their channel or something. I will have that in the description as well.
Hell yeah.
Cool. Let's jump with joaorubenn. Guys, there's a lot of these team names that I don't know how to say. But that's
Yeah.
fine. And the Stout and
That's
Tyrogues.
yeah.
Stoughton. I'll say Stoughton. That sounds more accurate. Um,
Yeah.
so on screen right now, you will see the tier list, but also to the right, you will see the actual team. I will do that in post. But they drafted
Oh
first
yeah.
pick Blastoise, and then they went to Bronzong, Scolipede, Dachshund, Sceptile, Donphan, Luxray, Pyroar, Hisuian Sliggoo, Terra, which has what? It has Steel, Water, and Fairy, and Crabominal, which has Ice, Ghost, and Fairy. So my initial thoughts are I dig it. Like I think this is a cool team. Um,
Yeah, I'm a fan.
I think the first thing I notice is your speed tiers look really strong. I think Sceptile at 120, the speed tiers in low tier are weird. Like there's a lot of those 125, 130 flying types, which are terrifying. But
Yeah, and then there's a bunch of slow things in the tiers, and
it
then
really
just
jumps
Regieleki.
down. Like it's that
And then
125,
Regieleki.
130, Regieleki 200, Electro to 150, and then you're down at like the 110, 105s as like your
Yeah,
next fastest.
there's it's very limited, but honestly, like I really like the speed tier that Joe Rubin. I'm just
Joa
gonna say that.
joaorubenn,
That they've yeah, I don't know that they've
whatever.
got. I really like it.
I mean Sceptile 120 and then Speed Boost Scolipede getting faster than that. It
Yeah,
gives you
speed
fantastic
boost.
speed arrangements. They're missing something between 78 and 95 between Blastoise and Dachshund. You're going to be able to run those base 80s or base 85s, base 90s. You're going to be able to run those timid, I mean modest and adamant every now and again. But I don't think that is a huge weakness in their team.
I don't think Doxbun is gonna run a lot of speed, like at all, really.
Why
But
is it 95 base speed? That's crazy.
yeah, it is kind of crazy. What is that? What does that hit? That hits 317.
Damn, that's really funny.
That
Um,
is pretty good.
so looking at like just I think speed tiers are great. That's always the first thing I look at, and then team composition, right? Typings wise, I think it's solid, but there's a relatively big ground weakness to me. Um,
Yeah, I definitely agree. The only thing they really have is like Sceptile
and
and
and Bronzong.
Bronzong, and even then, like sometimes you want to run Heatproof.
Yeah, and Sceptile doesn't want to. What has base 65 physical defense, I think. Yeah, like it doesn't
Yeah,
want to come in
nothing
and
nothing
take
great.
earthquakes. Now, there's not a
Uh,
ton of super strong ground types, or if they are, you'll be able to prep the rest of your team around them. But earthquake spam is on every other mon right now, so
yeah,
it's definitely gonna affect your prep a little bit, having that weakness. But I don't think it is. I don't think it ruins your team at all. And then defensively, I mean, I think you have a great core. Blastoise, Sliggoo, and Donphan and Bronzong, like that's really hard to break. Plus Dashbun, like you have a very defensive team with cool offensive outlets. Um,
one thing that I also kind of noticed is like they don't have too much for like momentum. Like you got Volt Switch on Luxray and Flip Turn, a few baton passers, but you don't want to be baton passing with Scolipede because,
yeah,
one, you're going to be having the speed boost probably like 9 times out of 10 in your games, and or 10, hell. But yeah, there's not a lot of momentum, and like you said before, switching into like earthquakes and stuff, it's gonna be really hard. You have a lot of good answers to like ground types and stuff like that, but taking them on is gonna be pretty hard. I like Terrasligu for that,
yep, agreed. I mean,
but
I love
yeah,
Sliggoo.
you don't got too much.
Sliggoo's my goat. Um, th- like I
Terrasligu.
completely agree. Momentum needs a little bit of work, but I like the Dosh runners with support. I think you have decent hazard setters. You have great removal. Blastoise and Donphan is rapid spin. A Defogger could do you well in case you're up against a ghost type, but Donphan gets
Yeah,
knockoff, so I'm not horrifically worried about it.
what do you got for hazards? You got two amazing rapid spinners, so I'm happy you got those, but
And you have Bronzong Donphan for rocks, and then Scolipede for spikes and toxic spikes. So I'd like to see a little more
yeah.
hazard setting there, but a defensive Scolipede with spikes, that's a real set, and that could put in a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
work. Um,
Yeah,
and I'm gonna go ahead.
I'm yeah, I'm really like excited to see this team put in work.
Me too. Um,
Like it just looks really sick, and
it looks fun.
even though
Like it
you do
looks
have,
super fun.
oh yeah,
I,
and like yeah, there are common weaknesses, but like I think he can put in a lot of work with this team with the right prep.
I agreed. I think
Great.
the biggest problem I have with it is its special attack. Your best is Pyroar at 109, which Pyroar I think could actually be really solid in low tier, but Pyroar is Sceptile, and then you're down at like 95 with Luxray, which is only ever running physical attack, and you're not gonna have to get to put in a lot of investment in Blastoise. So teams are gonna be able to run specially defensive a ton.
I
You
think
might be able to get around that
uh
in prep, but I mean physically defensive.
yeah, it's not looking well. It is actually looking pretty good, but thing I was gonna mention with special attack is you got Shell Smash with
That's true.
Blastoise, which
I,
is just pretty good. Like, but then again, it's you're hoping to set up
I did
for
forget
special attack.
the setup sweeping on this team is outrageous. You have
Oh yeah.
Sword Stance Speed Boost Scolipede. You have Shell Smash Blastoise. You have Unburdened Sword Stance Sceptile. And then you have like Curse Donphan or like Work Up Dashbun and Pyroar and Sept. Like there's so much cool setup potential that if your opponent doesn't bring haze or some way to disrupt you, you could this team could win within 3 turns
Oh yeah,
if
I
played
forgot
right.
that Sceptile got Dragon Dance, which is kind of pretty cool.
Right? Dragon Dance
Yeah.
or Sword Dance Unburden, there's so much you can do setup wise on this team, and I think you should really play with that each week. Just like have a different setup mon, whether that's Iron Defense, Body Press. The fact that Donphan can do that is crazy.
Oh yeah.
I think it can. Yeah.
And you got like all right priority on this team. Like I don't hate it, but I think it could be slightly better.
Yeah. So as of putting it into the tier list, it's I think there's definitely some tweaks should be made. Whether that's just getting something, getting a better ground resist, or maybe a little more offense on the special side. But I think it's just a few minor tweaks before this team can really
Yeah,
put in work every week. That's where I'd put it.
minor tweaks is a good tier to put it in.
Cool. There it goes. Um,
All
I
right,
need to look up
on
the name of this next team because it's not actually in the doc. Hold on.
uh
It's
okay
something about it's the Boston Kabutops. I knew that
yeah
because it was
Coach Typhon.
so. This is a rain team. Through and through, this is a rain team. Do you want to start it off with this one?
Yeah, for sure. For the I don't remember the name, but the Kabutops. We got Politoed, we got Kabutops, Kilowattrel, Rotom Frost, Duraludon, Crobat, Armaldo, Torterra, Wailord, and Shiftry. Terra's being Armaldo with Bug, Water, and Steel, Wailord, Water, Grass, and Fairy.
Like
Honest,
it's just
honestly, like
I
I
have no
love the
idea
speed tiers on this
I
team.
have no idea how I feel about this team.
Yeah,
Like
I love the top two speed tiers, but like there's no like there's just such a big drop after it. I think it's just pretty funny.
yeah, so speed twos are always one of the things I go to first. You have 130 in Crobat and 125 in Kilowattrel, which is fantastic. Now they both share weaknesses, so if you're up against a Lycanroc with the Cell Rock, that's gonna hurt.
It's over.
Is Lycanroc even
It's over.
drafted? Hold on. Well, you don't have to worry
One
about
thing that
that because Lycanroc
one thing.
was not drafted.
Oh, let's go.
But either
Uh,
way, like a rock type or an ice type is terrifying to this team.
I was gonna say this team is like very rock weak.
I didn't even notice that, but yeah, Armaldo and Rotom
Duraludon is
Frost even do.
there. Like Duraludon is there, and it has a Violite now, which is insane.
Oh my
But
god, that's it's
and
such good value. Like what a good pick, and to get
yeah,
that, what it was like round 5, crazy.
yeah. I don't know how you got. Yeah,
I
for
was
six
watching
points
these.
too. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what we were doing over here in the as moderators. I don't know what we were doing over
Nor
here
do
in
I.
that.
This team
I'm
went
not
through
gonna lie
like
to you guys.
this team went through like 80 iterations, but like in Grace.
You know what? I
I
respect
was
that.
following it, and it was I had no idea what was happening. But
I like the thing with the your speed tiers is like you make up for some of it with your swift swimmers,
yeah,
which is great, absolutely great. But what happens when the rain is gone? What do you do?
yeah. This is
Because like
no, I
the thing
agree.
with this team is it's banking on uh rain being up like all the time. I don't know
Yeah,
how
and
to. I,
no, you're
okay, hold
right
on.
though, and
I'll try to explain it. I'll try to explain it.
go for it.
So, uh, you got some good like electric types and good things to hit like hurricanes and stuff, but like having those moves at like a 70% chance is not great in the game of Pokemon that we play. Always, anyway. Like sometimes they will pay off, but it won't always work out. Like you got like Duraludon can learn Thunder too, I'm pretty sure, and you just got a bunch of stuff that have those moves, but like if you're gonna bank on that, uh, then you gotta watch out and keep Politoed alive, which is not always possible.
Yeah,
I guess I'll say because people will prep to take it out as soon as possible if you're gonna like worry about rain being up all the time. And I'm sure you got some good manual rain setters. I don't know who sets manual rain here. I
I
will
feel like there's a
check.
lot. I
Rain
agree.
dance.
Like you have outside of rain, you have one, two, three. You have 4 mons sitting from 80 to 86, which you're not often bringing Kabutops outside of rain, but Duraludon and Rotom and Shifter you can bring outside of rain a lot. And I also
Oh,
realized all 4 of those mons are weak to fighting types. And your
yeah.
resists are Crobat, which is a good fighting resist, but is frail. and Kilowattrel, which is the same deal.
Yeah,
So
Kilowattrel is not gonna take
if
too
I have
much.
like a Hitmonchan that has like a scarf and with a rock move, this team's done. Like it's gone. Um, Anything with Mach Punch and some sort of rock move, which are a lot of fighting types get rock coverage. This team is going to
Yeah,
struggle against that. But
it,
at the same
it's
time,
definitely gonna struggle.
it has cool, like it really has cool options here. I mean, it has Shell Smash Torterra, which which I think is actually a great pick in this team because it
Oh
helps.
yeah, I love that pick.
Like this team is typically a lot of your range sweepers, especially Terra Water Almaldo, which I like as a Terra captain, especially with Swift Swim, are going to be weak to electric types. So then you have Torterra, which in the rain isn't going to be weak to fire, isn't going to be weak to electric. That everything else in your team is going to be weak to. So it's really only ice you have to worry about. And one Shell Smash and a team's gone. Like if you can play that well, I do think there's great synergy in your in your team that's not rain mons, even like the Rotom with Blizzard and Thunder. I know Blizzard's not 100% in rain, but Thunder is, and that's going to do a ton of
But
damage if you can play it right.
yeah, I was gonna mention Rotom. Like, I'm gonna say it doesn't help too much with your team's resists, other than well, yeah, actually, it doesn't really help at all. But I like the Bolt Beam coverage if you're gonna use it more offensively. For a lot of the weeks, because Bolt Beam is absolutely amazing, but people can definitely build around that, and
Yeah,
uh, you already got you're just adding on to a lot of weaknesses that your team has more than anything with Rotom.
I do think going into like the techie stuff for this team, I think you have fantastic hazard removal. You have three defoggers, two rapid spinners. Shiftry as a defogger, I think, is super solid. Same with Rotom and Crobat less so because they are weak to rocks, but uh, they're going to be able to get rid of those comfortably. And Kabutops is going to bring rapid spin a good amount, and even just rapid spin to boost Kabutops' speed, that could be solid every now and again. And same thing with momentum, having two U-turners, two Volt switchers, and a flip turn user and they're powerful in that. That's gonna be really strong for your team. Your momentum. Now I'm a slow momentum fan. I think a fast U-turn is always helpful, sure, but I prefer like a slow Volt switch. However, Crobat with U-turn, Kilowattrel with Volt switch, flip
And
turn
you
on
turn.
Kabutops is huge. That's true. It gets U-turn as well.
Yeah.
That could be really strong for you if you're able to pivot back into your defensive checks like your Duraludon or your Politoed and just chip off things for a late game Restroom sweep. That could be your win con like for a couple weeks.
Yeah, I do really like the momentum, like you said. I do like what you got there, and I also don't mind how many defoggers and rapid spinners you have. Like that's a lot. Uh, and you got some stealth rockers, but yeah, I definitely can't see hazards being too much of an issue for you.
Yeah.
Uh, you don't really need priority. You're a brain team.
I do
But
think the biggest hole in this team is Kilowattrel for me. Like I think it's a great mon, especially in Kilowattrel or Crobat. Pick your poison there, because you don't have a
yeah.
grounded poison type. Wailord as a Terra captain
Oh
is
yeah.
cool, but it's not going to be amazing. Crobat as your
Yeah, I
poison
did
type
just
doesn't do
realize
what a
that.
poison does, and you have so many points there to get something to boost your special defense, or to get another hazard setter, or to deal with rock types and fighting types. Um, get a ghost type in this team or something, because Kilowattrel and Crobat are going to be fighting to do the same thing, and then even then, Rotom does what Kilowattrel does, it's just slower. And Crobat is a great mon, but it doesn't deal with the toxic spikes like you'd want a poison type to, and if you don't have a second one, that could like you're gonna be able to remove them, but you don't want your Kabutops to be poisoned late game because it's gonna just hinder how much you can sweep.
Yeah, definitely.
Um,
Oh. Oh yeah, I think it's pretty funny. We were talking about Wailord before, and we didn't even mention it yet.
Yeah, no, we were talking about Warlord for a good few minutes before we started this recording. Warlord's kind of cool. Like, it has some options. I don't think it's gonna be amazing, but I do want to see Warlord, like Terragrass Warlord, come in and eat stuff up.
Yeah, I was talking about it, how it has like water spout, and it has options to be a good like stall breaker, but also like a good like defensive threat with like Scald and stuff. I think it can actually put in a lot of work. It looks like a good trapper too. Like I'm really excited to see
Block Toxic,
what this
Whirlpool
thing will
Toxic.
do.
Like, it's got some options, and Water Spout in the rain could do a lot of damage.
Terra Grass is interesting. I don't mind it.
Yeah, I mean
Terra Fairy
it's an
too.
electric resist. It's gonna give you that.
Mm,
Is does grass resist rock? I think it does.
no,
Oh well, never
it
mind.
does not.
You have, I guess, Maldo is another. If it's Terra Steel, do rock resist, but you don't
Uh,
want to be
Armaldo
forced to run that every
does have
time.
Terra Steel, yeah. Yeah,
So, throwing it into the tier list, I think parts of this team need some work. I think it's a solid foundation of a rain team, but with a few holes. Like you're weak, especially you need some, and you need to be able to cover fighting and rock. And if not, people can run that every week, and it'll be almost impossible to break.
yeah, definitely. Needs some work does look like a good tier to put this in.
Cool, there it
And
is.
like and like a lot of just to put that out there, a lot of like the mod team and like mostly anyone really would be more than happy to help with like teams and stuff
Oh,
while you're
100%.
drafting or anything that you need. Just ask. Like even myself, like I'm more than happy to help anyone, whoever just is like, hey, what's wrong with my team? What can I do better with it? Like I'd be more than happy to assist. I'm sure Matt would be too,
Yeah,
or
100%. All right, let's talk about Abzy's team. I've been excited to talk about this team because
oh yeah,
it's
oh
so
yeah.
good. It's so good. Okay, Abzy has Zygarde 10%, Florges, Registeel. I can end it there if I wanted to. But also it's Rosary, Seismitoad, Cryogonal, Honchkrow, Bellybolt, Terra Fighting. No, the Fighting type Palantoros with Terra Fighting, Steel, and Rock. And then Terra Raboot, which is kind of sick, with Fire, Flying, and Fighting. I don't know how this team was allowed to be drafted. I think this is the best team in all three divisions, and I genuinely believe that. Like, you hear so many people talk about Fire, Water, Grass cores or Dragon Fairy Steel cores, and they are not necessary on a team. However, they do synergize unbelievably well with each other, and I mean, Zygarde 10%. I definitely should have picked it because it's that good. I mean, Thousand Arrows hitting these flying types. It has an unbelievable speed tier. Well, it has a very pretty okay speed tier. um, but the synergy in this team is crazy. Like the only typing weakness I'd say you have to focus on is ground. But you have Cryogonal, which is gonna come on any ground type ever. Um, and you have, oh well, Paldeantoros isn't gonna help with that. It's Terra moves, but
Uh,
like Belly
it,
Bolt's
it
weak,
can. I
Registeel.
mean, I think yeah, you definitely have a lot of good options, and even like Registeel is gonna be able to take those
Yeah, it's not worried
or,
about it.
those ground moves sometimes. I'm gonna check its stats again because I don't remember.
It's like 130
Yeah, like
defenses each.
80, 150, 150.
Oh,
Like you're
150.
you're taking good hits with that defensive
I mean, defensively,
stuff.
this team's fantastic. Offensively, this team's
Oh yeah.
fantastic. Like, maybe you're lacking a little bit in physical defense, but you have Belly Bolt that you can just invest in defense. And Peleon has 105 defense, and, like, you can bring a defensive
And that was
Registeel every
Intimidate.
week. Yeah, and it has Intimidate. Like, there's and speed tiers are fantastic as well. I mean, 115 being your fastest, I'm not in love with. I would
Yeah,
like to
that
see
was something I was gonna
Wongful
mention
break that,
really quick.
but it's not. it's not the end of the world. Um, Plus, does Zygarde get Dragon Dance? Yeah, it does.
No, but I think it does.
Yeah,
What?
yeah,
That's messed up.
yeah. Right. The fact that this
That's
thing gets
messed up. Holy,
that's crazy.
oh my
And
God.
and then Florges Registeel is the best defensive duo you can ask for. I mean, Florges and Nat decks, we fully undervalued this. Florges at 8 points. That's crazy. Like it was on my list, and it was drafted 6th in Mew, like overall. But Florges with Defog and Wish Passing and Aromatherapy, just it's gonna keep Zygarde alive. It's gonna keep Cryogonal alive. It's gonna keep your offensive Roserade alive. Like it's fantastic.
All right. I did not hear anything that happened just for a few seconds, but it's okay.
That's okay. We lost it. I was just talking about Florges.
Okay, yeah, no, I love Florges. Florges, top 3 Pokemon for me all time, and I've never drafted in draft because I'm an idiot. Simply.
Uh,
This
uh,
thing is insane. I love Florges.
it's nuts. It's
Picking
great.
it round two was actually so smart because like I'm pretty sure that this is one of the best fairy types that you can get
Yeah.
in this draft.
And then Reggie's still
Like,
after it. Like
oh my
that's
God.
ridiculous.
Yeah, no, that's such a good like defensive core that you have. And like F- Fortress can even like take some good hits on the physical side if
Yeah.
it really has to.
I picked up
Like,
Florges in another league, and I brought it physical about half of the time because it can still take the special hits, and then it can come and check in physical fightings or check in physical bug types.
the only thing that I have a problem with hindering the top two is like not having an ability, basically.
Yeah,
That's
but
the only main like issue I have.
agreed.
And like that's not a bad thing either, because like they're just so versatile. Like Zygarde, after looking at his moveset for like the third time now, this thing is insane.
It's nuts.
Like, wow.
And I mean, even okay, ignoring the top three for a second, which the top three make this team. Roserade,
Okay, yeah, yeah.
it's less good because we don't have hidden power, but as a support mon with spikes and toxic spikes, plus leech sheet
Yeah,
sub, plus
Spike's
sleep powder, plus stun spore, like fantastic addition to this team.
yeah, I really like
Defensively.
having natural cure as well, but also having the ability to run Television if you want to play around, do something insane.
Yup.
If you wanted, you don't have to even, like, a bunch of the non-technician stuff, like, just works just as well, but like you got sleep powder, you have stun spore, toxic spikes, you can absorb toxic spikes because you're grounded poison.
Seismitoad
Like
as a bulky water,
I'm,
I'm
I'm a fan.
I think I'm a fan. I'm hesitant. I want to see someone use it well. I know it can be used well, but I worry there's just so many grass types floating around that it's gonna struggle. But I mean, then you have Roserade and Registeel and Cryogonal and Honchkrow to check that. So
Yeah, I think uh I think this team is definitely like really well made, I think.
yep.
Uh
And even like the
this
Cryogonal in this, like the Cryogonal Belly Bolt pairing, best being in to
oh yeah.
switch and float around on each other's weaknesses and having a fantastic toxic recovering abuser in Belly Bolt and rapid spin. You can run. Does it get? I don't know. What's the move that causes snow, not hail?
Oh, Snowscape
Yeah,
or
Cryogonal.
the ability.
Yeah, no, you're right. Snowscape.
Oh
Cryogonal,
yeah, Snowscape.
Snowscape, Aurora Veil in this team, broken, unbelievable, and that can be like a
Having
real
that
thing that's
manual,
brought.
yeah, I can see it.
The like the only things that I would say you should change. You don't even have to change these, but I think something a little faster might help you. Something between Florges and Roserade, speed tier wise. Again, there's a lot of those like 80 speed tier mons that are missing. in a lot of these teams. So honestly, you're not going to have that big of a problem. But I would change, and we talked about this before. We changed Terra Rock on Tauros.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it's really doing there. I mean, like I get the vision with like stab like rock well like stone edge and stuff,
Yeah,
but I'm not
checking
sure
flying
if it
types,
can.
but there's better typings to do that.
I think so. I honestly like kind of I don't mind electric or something like that, right? You could also what
Electric or
else do
ice.
we got on
I
this
was thinking
thing?
electric. I might even go ice though because like this team isn't
No,
necessarily ground weak, but you want
I'm
to
not a
have
fan
something
of
else that can.
ice.
It depends on what you're going for. Um,
Yeah.
I think like something else to check offensive ground types might be helpful, but Cryoangle does that for you so well.
You got some really like technically speaking, you're ground weak, but like honestly, you're kind of not.
Yeah.
The things that want well that can take earthquakes that are also weak to it. Well, like I mix up my words. Things that are kind of weak to it can also take earthquakes very well, and Raboot won't even be a fire type for long because you got Terrafly, uh you got
That's true.
Trailblaze with Libero. Like
Yeah.
you got a lot of really solid options.
We might have to go a little faster. This is already a 30-minute video. This is going to be a 3-hour video at the end of the day.
Hell yeah. That's what we're
But,
here for,
you
baby.
know, I'm going to throw Abzy in great team, though. I think this team's fantastic.
Yeah, no. I love Abzy's team. It's really sick.
All right, we're going to look at Waldinjy and the
Waldinjy.
Londonian Krillowats, which I think is a really funny team name. I think this
Yeah.
team
I
is
think
really
that's
cool.
a yeah, that's a
Is it a
I know
real?
that. I know that Pokemon. I think that's a creative Pokemon.
Oh,
I
okay.
think so. I think so. Because I
Well,
remember seeing that somewhere.
yeah, like I recognize it. It's cool. Well, hey, take it away.
Anyway, sick. So let's see what we got here for Waldingy's team. We got Iron Leaves, Moltres, Feraligatr, Drapion, Steelix, Drampa, Dodrio, Lunatone, Galarian Casola, and Torracat. Terra Captains being Lunatone with Psychic Fire Fairy, and Torracat with Fire Fairy Ground.
Yes.
Now,
No, go for it.
this team, the speed tiers is the main issue I have with it.
Yeah, I
Everything
agree.
is just slow or not running much speed.
Like 100%. I mean, Doduo as your fastest at 110 is like Doduo's a good mon, but that should be your second or third fastest. I think your second fastest can cut it, but there's going to be so many things that are going to be able to run modest or adamant against this team, and like you have
Yeah,
three things in the 90s, and then you jump down to 78, which Dragon Dance for Alligator is solid, but then everything else is too slow to really cover. And even the jump from 36 to 70, like speed tiers are wonky in this team, and I think it should definitely be looked at to be adjusted.
one thing I'll mention is like I love Iron Leaves as a first pick. Like personally, I was gonna pick it too, but I went for Silvally just personally. But like this thing is so good. I'm so excited to see this thing in use.
Me too.
It's just so versatile, and I'm really excited to see what you can do with this. But what I like about this team a lot is, you got your grounded poison, you got some good ground resists, but uh, this team is like pretty rock. Well, a lot of teams are rock weak, but your team is like especially rock
Yeah.
weak.
The only real
And
resistance is Steelix. And Steelix doesn't really want to take
yeah,
ground type moves and a lot or fighting type moves, and again,
and
a
then
lot of those
then
monsters run
even
both
then,
of
yeah.
those.
Yeah, it's a good combination to have for a lot of Pokemon. But you also like from the type chart thing it shows here, like you got some pretty common weaknesses, like type weaknesses. Like Dark is such like a bad type to be weak to, and I'm
Yeah.
not gonna say that I'm not gonna like blame you for it because most of my teams have also been Dark Week, but like knockoff is such a common move, especially in national decks. So it's something you really have to be aware of. Because like you get knocked off on your Moltres, and now you're uh, like mega stealth rock weak.
Yeah.
Same thing with Dodrio or anything that wants to switch in. Well, Dodrio doesn't want to switch into a knockoff, but you know what I mean. Like Galarian Corsola, you don't want to knock your Violite off. And then Leaves doesn't want to take a knockoff, or neither. Like, not a lot of things on your team want to take a knockoff. Drapion and maybe Helix, but
Yeah.
it's a big issue that you might want to have to get sorted out. And it also shows here that you're weak to like water, which is insane to me. Like water is just such a common type that I think that should be something resolved like immediately.
Yeah. I
Like
mean,
Scald is such a common move in uh national decks as well. And this team is so weak to it. It just ow. It's not
yeah.
good.
And your Terra types don't necessarily fix that. It looks like you're rock weak, but it's half of that's Lunatone and Torracat, which I don't think are coming too often. Um, but yeah, there are some pretty big holes, even just in team synergy wise, that I think after he patched. I love the Iron Leaves Moltres for Alligator Core. I think that's really strong offensively. I think that
Yeah.
can put in a lot of work, but all of those are what it's 12, 11, 10 points. Like those are a lot of points, and as much as I really like them, that is so top heavy that it really limits what you can do the rest of the draft. Like you grab Drapion for 9, Steelix for 7, and then everything else you picked was 5 points and below, which while you can utilize those mons incredibly well, it it's totally going to hinder what you're going drafting high points, so or at least going to hinder the rest of your draft, which I think is what happened. Um, so I think there has to be something that comes in and like maybe another ground type or a fighting type to check rock and ice types. Maybe a do you have an electric type on this team? I don't think so. Yeah, no.
No.
So an electric type
Uh
to check waters. I think electric types in low tier are going to be fantastic.
Definitely.
And then even
Another
your
thing,
Terra types just are confusing me a little because both of them share fire and fairy. And Lunatone doesn't have to have fire. And like fairy's
no,
an okay
I'm
type
not
on
sure
it, but I'm not actually sure. I don't know where the
what does
thought
it do
process
with
was
that
for this.
actually? I'm kind of looking to see what it can do with that, and I'm not seeing too much. It doesn't even get Terra Blast.
Lunatone's such a cool mon that can do nothing.
Yeah. One thing I was also going to mention. Oh, well, I already mentioned it before, but like hazards is such a problem. Like stealth rocks, and your only like hazard removers are Moltres, which does not want to switch on rocks after being knocked off
Yeah.
because you're Dark Weak, and Drampa, which
Why does Grandpa
gonna
get
say
defaulted? That's kind
I'm
of
just
cool.
gonna be blunt. I'm gonna be blunt. This thing, not that great.
No, Grandpa kind of sucks, but I
I
also
get
love
like
it. It could be used well
yeah.
if used right. Like Berserk and 135 special attack is fantastic, but also being fighting weak is a big problem.
Yeah.
Do
I
you have a trick room user?
After looking at it a little bit, I don't mind it, but like it's if you're gonna run it every week just to defog, so Moltres doesn't have to get uh like hit with rocks or something from like a knockoff. Which like I get that you have flame body on Moltres, but it's just not gonna cut it.
Yeah, there are a lot of utility mons that run knockoff. I mean, Tentacool runs knockoff and it still runs special. Cofagrigus runs knockoff and it doesn't really care if it gets burned. Like there's a lot of knockoff mons that are used just purely as utility, so they don't mind getting burned. I like. I think there's a lot of weaknesses in this team. I think you can play around with this top 3 core. And Drakeon's a good mon, and Steelix is a good mon, but I think you have to readjust where your points are going. And tier list wise, I think I would put this in team overhaul.
Yeah, I didn't want to do it, but
I think
I'm
it's
glad
okay.
you said it.
There's and I threw it in. It has potential to there's a few strong changes you're gonna have to make pretty quickly. However, I think at the same time, once you do that, this team becomes unstoppable. Like this team can become very good very quickly if you make those big changes up top.
Yeah, I think this team has so much potential to be a good team, but it's just not looking great right now.
Yep.
Uh, just to summarize it a little bit, like you're really knockoff weak or like dark weak, and you're weak to some pretty common types, like water and ice beam is pretty common too. So if you try and just fix those up a little bit, it's okay to be like kind of weak to one, but like try to fix those typings a little bit and keep yourself safe from like rocks and other hazards. You should be fine. Like the team looked very threatening, and I think it could be even more threatening if you make some changes to it.
100%. Okay, let's look at plays for Daze's team and the Swansea Scissors. This is the Bulu team? Yeah. This is a cool team.
Yeah.
They have Tapu Bulu, Regieleki, Tinkaton,
team.
Swellow, Hisuian Quillfish, Driftplum, Lantern, Terra Graplocked with Fighting Water Fairy, Terra Weirdo with Psychic Fairy, Ground, and Knuckle Stack. Take it away because I gotta go get some water.
Okay. So while he goes get some water, I'm just gonna mention first. God, I love Tapu Bulu and Regieleki on the same team. Like, wow. Uh, Having the grassy terrain up just to weaken a bunch of earthquakes, which your team is relatively weak to, is absolutely amazing. Like, you got some really, really good synergy with grassy terrain. Now that I mention it, I do like that you have it with Driftbloom as well, having the unburdened sweeper potential.
Yep.
For how many points? You got
Drift
what,
6
like
points.
6 points out of it? That's pretty good. And Regieleki, like it's good in like high tier, just like regular draft, and then now you got it in a low tier draft where it's gonna put even more work in. And you don't even need to worry about a bunch of like ground types because you got good answers in you got Tapu Bulu, you got Driftblim, you got your
Swellow.
what's this thing called again? Swallow.
Yep. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
100%.
it looks so good. I'm a really really big fan of this team. Like I love it.
And speed twos too. I mean, I think they're strong. I mean, you have 200 in Regieleki, so no one's beating that. Swallow at 125,
Yeah,
which is good. And then it's a pretty big jump down to Tinkaton at
to
94.
94. Yeah,
But
that's the only rough thing I see with it. And like
even
yeah,
from your
you got
94 down to 35, I think you filled in every gap I wanted to see filled in there.
yeah, definitely. The only thing I can see wrong with this team is like how the speed tiers aren't great other than Regieleki and Swallow. Maybe like one more, like to take Tinkaton's place on the third
Yeah, I want to see
would
something
be
above
great.
100.
Yeah, definitely. If you can fill that role, like this team looks so threatening.
What we were talking about before and filmed is how do you be a steel type in this team?
Yeah,
Like,
That's
I don't see any way you can beat a steel type comfortably. Like, you technically have grab
like
blocked, but I don't know how much you're bringing grab blocked. What does that even do? It has that
grab
move.
blocked. It just
What is that? It has
it does have
technician. What 118 attack?
as technician.
Has octolock.
That's some
It traps the
octolock.
target
That's
and lowers their defense and special defense by 1 each turn it's trapped. That's kind of
that
crazy.
sounds like a you kind of move. He, for those who don't know, Matt, he loves his blocks and
I
his
I love a
traps and
trap
his
move.
he's a fan.
But like one strong steel type, a Registeel, um, a Bronzong, a Silvally Steel. Like, I don't, I don't see a comfortable way you can beat this without like Heat Wave Swallow or like Superpower Bulu, which neither of those want to
Oh,
stay in the steel types.
Bulu has close combat, which is pretty cool.
Does
And you
it?
got
That's kind of
Nature's
sick.
Madness. Yep. And it got Nature's Madness as well, which is great. I think that's if you have a read on that, it'd be absolutely amazing. But Bulu can also be weak to those steel types as well if it's not played correctly. Like if
Yeah,
you're
Bulu
locked into
doesn't want to take
something
steel
else
types.
with like band.
Yeah,
If this thing got U-turn, it would be absolutely broken. I don't think it'd be in the tier that it is on 12. I think it'd be like way higher.
yeah.
But yeah, I absolutely love this team.
Me
Like
too.
so much.
And I mean, even hazard wise, like two great stealth rock setters in Knucklestack and Tinkaton. A great spikes and toxic spike users with Syrian Quillfish. Maybe I'd want to see more, but I don't think you need it. Two good defoggers
I
and a
mean,
great rapid spinner. Like, good
yeah.
momentum in U-turn, Swallow, and Volt Switch, Eliki, and Lantern. Plus, Driftlink gets Baton Pass too if you want to run like a bulkier set. Um, and, and the priority here is actually really solid. Extreme Speed and Aqua Jet and Fake Out and Sucker Punch. Like, there's the biggest weakness I think is just that Steel type weakness.
Yeah, and you got like you got a lot of just good support moves. And then the Pokemon that aren't running the support moves are doing such good damage. And
Yeah.
even the Pokemon that are supporting and doing damage at the same time, like a Lucky, you could have like Weirdeer who can do that as well with Intimidate. Uh, hell, even Knucklestack. It can't do good damage, but you can do some good stuff overall with Assault Cure and
I
all
mean, it
that
gets
stuff.
body press
I
still, so
think, yeah, it does. I really like Lantern on this team too.
me too.
Like, it's
I,
just so good. I'm a big fan of it.
Lanterns are fantastic bulky water. Like, people overlook it, but you could like 125 HP and 76 F with that. Like, it's really good. Plus, I think it gets Scald, it gets Volt Switch, like it gets Heal Bell. It can do a
Yep.
lot utility wise for this team.
Yeah, and you got your Grounded Poison in Quillfish.
Yep. Quillfish is fantastic. I think this team just needs some minor tweaks. Like, if you can find a comfortable way to, it's either use Grap Locked really well or find a comfortable way to beat those steel types and maybe adjust those speed tiers a little bit. Like, get something in that 100 to 125 range. I think this is so close to being a great team.
Yeah, absolutely. It's literally just hell. I'd put it at like the absolute bottom of great team,
Cool.
but
I can rock with
I
it.
think on the I think yeah, I'm just that much of a fan of this team. Like
Cool, dude. No,
I'm
let's do
I'm
it.
I'm biased, I'm not gonna lie. I think this is such a good team. But yeah, like there are like one or two small things you can change, but no team's gonna be perfect like that.
Yep. Oh, 100%. Cool. Let's look at Redsoxalex and the
Right.
what is it? The Fighting Lando Tees? Something about the Fighting Lando Tees and
Okay.
Redsoxalex.
The Fighting Lando Tees. That's insane.
It's kind of a
So
sick
for
name.
the yeah, I don't mind it. So for this team we got Hisuian Arcanine, Gastrodon, Flygon, Meloetta, Weezing, Jolteon, Claydol, Granbull, Vigoroth, and Gabite. Terra captains being Vigoroth, water uh, poison ghost, and Gabite with dragon, poison, and steel. Whoa.
This
I am
Go for it.
I'm a fan. I'm a fan. I'll be honest.
I love to
Uh
be a fan.
I think it has like a lot of like pretty bad weaknesses, but like I really enjoy like the top three speed core. Like you got Jolteon, you got Flygon, and you got Hisuian Arcanine, which are absolutely great mons altogether.
Oh,
Like
for sure.
they cover a lot, but
This
a lot of other things are just not great.
Man, I really, the
Here's
first
Mama
glance at
Pushy.
looking at this team, I was like, I
I'm going
love
to
it.
bed now.
And then,
The dog is your
yeah,
grandma's
first
gonna
time,
go lay down in her bed. Okay. You want me to leave this open? Phone rings, you gotta answer it. Okay. I'll give it to you.
All right, I am back again,
noise.
taking
Um,
sudden leaves.
Yeah. So first time looking
Okay.
at this team, I was like, I love this thing, but the more I look at it, the more I struggle. No
Yeah,
electric,
I don't
no
know if
electric
you.
type will ever play against this team ever, as you have 5 immunities.
Yeah,
But you
yeah, I
have
was gonna mention that.
you have a huge dark weakness, which is again something we mentioned you don't want to be weak to. Meloetta is weak to dark, and Claydol's weak to dark, which I know it's not a ton, but with only Granbull as your resist, you don't want to be facing knockoffs and
Yeah,
dark pulses.
yeah,
You have a map, like, you have, what, it's 4 ground types? Yeah, you have 4 ground types. So not only are you ice weak with Flygon, Gabite, and Claydol, but you're just freeze dry weak with
you're also.
Gastrodon too. And then even like a big grass weakness, which you see a lot of grass types. You have 2 dragon types, with only Granbull as your fairy. You have a water immunity in Gastrodon, but Claydol and Arcanine are weak to it. There are some really common types that you have
Yeah,
pretty consistent weaknesses to.
and that's just not great to have. Like,
Go ahead.
uh, like I said before with the top three of the speed tiers, I think that's probably the best thing about this team. But like, you're you have so many ground types. Like you don't really need Gabite. You don't really need. Well, actually, Gastrodon is good to have, but there's just a few of these Pokemon that you don't really need to have. They're just kind of sitting there.
Yeah, like Claydol, I'm not sold on. Like, I think your first 6 picks, I think, are really good. Arcanine, Gastrodon, Flygon, Meloetta, Weezing, Jolteon. I think that's
Yeah, no,
fantastic.
I love the top six
That's
picks.
great. It has you bulking Gastrodon and Weezing. Arcanine can run bulk, so can Meloetta, to be fair. Jolteon is really fast, I think
Yep.
is underrated. Meloetta is really scary and can do a ton. Flygon is a great dragon as sweeper. But then Claydol just triples your weaknesses. Granbull,
Yep.
as a fairy type, fine, but it is weak. And then Vigoroth and Gabite really aren't going to bring you much.
Yeah.
So I
feel
like
like
I
they're-
feel like this team is close to being good. It's just like your lower point mont. I think you just chose the wrong ones.
Yeah. I'm gonna like make an assumption that you got sniped.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna be honest, because like you started off so well, and then it just dropped.
Yeah. Like that
That's
top 6 is
like the
scary.
only.
You could bring Arcanine, Gastrodon, Flygon, Meloetta, Weezing, Jolteon every single week, and comfortably win games. Like that is a scare. It can be a grounded poison type with Weezing, or it can have Levitate. But you have your ground immunity with Flygon. Like Meloetta does a ton of damage, but can also check like ghost types and stuff that like hurting this team. Hisuian Arcanine is a fantastic mon. I loved using it in another draft. I got rid of it pretty quickly just because I needed a fighting type, but it's so fun to use. I think this team could be really cool, but once you get to Claydol, I think it blows up.
Yeah, no, I think this team has so much potential, but the the last like 4 Pokemon just don't fit on this team. I don't feel
And,
like maybe Granbull. but
like
other
Bramble
than
can stay.
that,
I guess, but even like Vigoroth, you have a normal type in Meloetta, so you don't need the normal type there.
no, and there's way better Terra captains that you can
Yeah,
grab for it. If I'm looking on the
you
board
have
right now, like
great. Oh
if,
yeah, go for it.
yeah, you got some
How much is
good
Vigoroth of 3
options.
points?
Think so. Let me see. Vigoroth on 3 points. Yeah, you
I mean,
have
even Clefairy as a 3 point.
hell.
Like
You even got like Samurott wouldn't be too bad. I mean, yeah, you don't really have just like a normal water. I mean,
Gastrodon, but
got Gastrodon,
it
but
doesn't
it's not
feel
bad
like a
to
water
double
type.
up on the water type.
Yeah,
It does pretty good on not
and,
it's a good double up on the water type. But you can also have stuff like Klinklang. You don't really have a steel type. I think that would actually benefit you really, really, really well.
agreed.
I think you need a steel type on your team like bad.
And
Like you're weak to dragon, uh, and
helps with the ice type.
and grass
Yeah,
and ice are just good into you. I think a steel type. You need one of those.
yeah, for sure. And utility wise, you look strong. I mean, 4 good Stealth Rocks users. You got Spikes with Gastron, Toxic Spikes with Weezing. Weezing's fantastic. Good, good Rapid Spinner and Claydol. I think you need to change that out and get a better Rapid Spinner, but fine. And Defog and Flygon, I think, is
Yeah,
legit. You have 3 Heal Ball
I don't
Mons.
think.
Um, great momentum, I think. Really
Mhm.
good, really good priority. I mean, Extreme Speed does it enough too, but First Impression, Flygon
First
is
impression, extreme
legit.
speed. Yeah, sucker punch, I guess, but you don't need Vigoroth. I'm gonna
So
say that again.
yeah, I think I'm gonna put this team in a few needs a few changes. Like
Yeah,
it's close to
definitely.
being solid, but it needs some work. Well, needs some work is below. You need a few changes, but once you have a few changes, it's a very good team.
Yep, I agree, 100%.
Cool. Let's look at Bree's team. I love this team. Let me just switch my thing over.
Let's let's see what we got.
Um,
Bree, oh yeah.
yeah, so Bree has Sandy Shocks, Vaporeon, Fortress, Overquill, Uxie, Trevenant, Typhlosion, Terra Wugtrio with Water, Ice, Ground, Terra Toucanon with Flying, Ground Fighting, and Ambipom. Now I'm a little biased.
Oh
I
yeah.
helped Bree in Grace team in Grace period a little bit, but I think this team is going to be a sleeper pick as one of the best teams. There's still problems with it. I think there's still stuff that you're going to have to adjust it and get past. But oopsies, I dropped something. Sorry. Overall,
Oh,
I think this team is strong.
yeah, I think this team is it's pretty good, honestly. Like I'm a big fan of Sandy Shocks. I haven't drafted it or even like used it, but I've seen so much success with it that it's been hard to not pick it sometimes.
It does so
Uh,
much. I mean, it's fast. It has great stab. It has screens. It has stealth rocks. It has volt switch. Like, it can do so much.
and honestly, like I don't even mind your speed tiers on this team.
Oh, I think the speed tiers are
Like
fantastic.
like you got Wugtrio to be your fastest Pokemon, and like that's not great in other points of draft, but this is low tier. Anything happens in low tier. And you got as a Terra Captain, that's insane. As water, ice, ground. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's
Like,
that's exactly what
yeah,
you want.
100%.
I love those Terra typings, and I think Wugtrio is gonna put in work. That's what I'm gonna say.
And even with Gooey,
It's
like,
gonna
and you have offensive water type Trio and defensive water type Vaporeon. That Vaporeon is going to be able to cover for the rest of this team, and then have Trio come in, and I think Trio can be like a really strong late game sweeper.
Oh yeah, and you got some good priority too. I mean, you got fake out, you got sucker punches, you got some aqua jets. It's really, really, really good. I'm such a big fan of this team.
Yeah, the utility on this team is unbelievable. I mean, you have 3 stealth rockers that gonna bring. You have Uxie, which Uxie in low tier could be busted. Fortress, which is one of the best defensive mons in the entire league, and Sandy Shocks. You have 3 Spikes users in Fortress, Sandy Shocks, and Overquill. You have 2 Toxic Spike users in Fortress and Overquill. like hazard removal struggles. We needed to. Part of what Bria and I looked at was making sure that she had a flying type with defog, which I know Toucanon isn't the best option here, but I think Toucanon is actually really solid with Beak Blast to bait out some burns.
Yeah. Yeah,
And then Rapid
I
Spin
like it.
Fortress. I mean, that's a staple.
Yeah. And you got your ghost type to get rid of rapid spins. I don't think you have an answer to defog on this team, but you also have your grounded poison,
Yeah,
which
and I
I'm
mean,
a really, really big fan of.
anything that wants to click defog typically can just bring Sandy Shocks in.
Yeah, definitely.
You have great
And
momentum
then
in U-turn from Uxie, Ambipom, and Toucanon. 2 Volt Switch users with slow Volt Switch and Fortress, slow Flip Turn or Baton Pass with Vaporeon. I think utility wise, there's very little to change on this team. Also, Trevenant is my favorite Pokemon of all time, and
there you go.
I think it's so underrated in draft. Like Frisk is one of the best abilities to have in draft, no matter what. But then also just a sub Leech Seed Harvest set, like so many teams don't prep for that enough, and then just don't have anything to break it.
Wait, this thing gets Fukina gets sheer force. That's insane.
Yeah, Toucan is a good mon. Like it can run Skill Link
This
with
thing
like
is
Bullet Seed or Sheer Force, like Sheer Force Life Orb.
it gets temper flare now. Like
What?
wow, it gets temper flare now.
This
That's
team is
insane.
like it doesn't
And you got
pass
flame
the
charge
eye
too.
test.
Like
Like if you're just looking at this team, it doesn't look scary. But even Overquill, like, gonna be so strong. Ambipom is one of the best fake out users, and just gonna be so annoying. Uxie and Vaporeon and Forge is gonna be so hard to break. And like throw a Scarf Typhlosion at the end of this, and what is the team gonna
yep.
do you?
I'm honestly gonna say this right now. I'm so glad I looked at Toucan because if not, I would just think that this thing is just gonna lose to every steel type imaginable. But like, this
No,
thing's got
Toucanon's
answers.
legit. Toucanon's a
Yeah,
good
no, this
mon.
thing is actually legit. I'm not gonna lie.
That's
I
where
would definitely
Grand
put
Bat
Terra
goes.
Fire. I'd put Terra Fire over something, but like honestly, like this thing is actually kind of impressive. I'm not gonna lie. I did
Yeah.
not expect much of it. I did not expect much of it, but like this is a pretty good mon for 3 points.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And I appreciate the Terra Fighting still, because that beats Ice. But I do think if you replace that Terra Fighting with Terra Fire, that would just make Toucanon like unbelievable. But you don't have to do that right away. I'm
So
considering
let's
putting
get Terra
this.
Blast too.
This is the Maui Mux, by the way. We didn't say the team name, but I think this
Yeah.
could go into the great team.
Yep, definitely.
Like
I
I think this thing
I'm
is.
a really big fan of this team.
And it doesn't look like it when you look at it immediately, but I think it's super, super strong. Now, there are a few weaknesses. Like, it's a little bit electric weak, but you have Sandy Shocks as an immunity, and you have Trevenant as resist. And it's a little rock weak, but again, you have Sandy Shocks. And it's a little dark weak, but you have Overquill. So, like, I think it does everything else. Like, you don't have to change
Yeah,
anything utility-wise, anything momentum-wise. Like, it has everything going for it. It just and stat distribution too. I mean, like physically offensive, fantastic. Especially offensive, Sandy Shocks and Vaporeon at 110 special attack is not, you cannot sleep on it. Plus Typhlosion, like there's very little you have to change outside of maybe covering for a couple of those types, but I don't think you have to do that yet.
Yeah, I am a really big fan of this team. It's definitely good to be in the top tier. I'm really excited to see how this team gets played. So for the next one, we got Drakeon.
Drakeon, I think.
Drakeon. I'll just go with Drakeon. You can insult me in the server if I get it wrong, but Drakeon. On the team.
They're
The team
the
is
Carolina Incineroar.
the Carolina Incineroars. Love it. we got Breloom, Tyrantrum, Swampert, Combuskin, Linoon, Magnemite, Yanmega, Haunter, Bisharp, and Farigiraf. Which honestly, at like a quick glance of this team, it's pretty cool. Oh yeah, Terra Captains. Combuskin with Fire, Grass, Steel, and Haunter with Poison, Dark, and Fairy. Like I literally just said, uh, I'm a fan at a first glance. Like you got some speed boosting opportunities to get your speed tiers up, I guess. You got some really good some priority users. Uh, you even got for a giraffe if you're scared of their own uh, their own priority, which is pretty cool. Uh, but yeah, you got like really good priority users, and I completely forgot about Breloom. This thing is insane.
Yeah, I've. I don't think I'm in love with this team. I think there's a lot of holes that you have to fill with it. But I see what is happening here. I mean, Breloom low tier is going to be unbelievable. Like that's going to be so hard to beat. It's so powerful. Plus,
Uh, I th-
plus 4. Like,
yeah, I think the main thing that I have against this team is that it's just not offensive. Not defensive, sorry. It's very, very, very offensive. But you don't have much to go for defense. You got, I guess, Magnemite, Swampert,
no.
and Farigiraf. But yeah, and I was saying I guess because like,
Yeah,
what's it gonna do?
it's
It has Volt Switch. It has Teleport. It has. I genuinely don't know what else it has, but
why does
uh,
Combuskin get defog?
this game gets defog.
There's so
That's insane.
much like
But yeah,
this team looks
uh,
cool, but I think there's a lot of work that has to be done. I mean, speed tiers, your fastest is Lanoon at 100. And you have speed boost on Mega, which will go up there. Um, and you have speed boost Combuskin, but I mean, Combuskin's at 55 speed on its own, so
yeah.
I think you need
I
something a little
really,
faster.
I like having like so many speed boost Pokemon. Like you got two of them, and then you got priority galore with Mach Punches. You got extreme speeds and sucker punches, but sometimes it just won't cut it because someone can just easily prepare for those and be ready for what you have to throw out because your team is just so slow.
100%. It
Uh,
there's
and
like
it's over when
I don't know.
uh,
There's so
when you
much.
got fighting moves or
It's just a
something.
confusing team to look at. Like Super Fighting Week, Super Fighting Week. Now you have Mega to resist and Haunter's immune, but Tyrantrum doesn't want to take them, and Bishop doesn't want to take them, and Lanoon doesn't want to take them, and Farigiraf doesn't resist them, and like kind of Fire Week depends on what you bring. I mean, Bishop, Mega, Breloom, all weak to fire. Now you have resistances there, but Tyrantrum isn't the best
Uh,
resistance to anything with 59
yeah,
spit
and
F.
Haunter is good for these types, but also when it terastallizes, because obviously it has that. You're no longer gonna be uh you're no longer gonna be fighting weak or
Fighting
like
immune.
fighting immune. So that defense stat of 1 second of 45 plus potentially violate. It's not gonna cut it.
Yeah. Now
Uh
you do have good things here. Like we were talking about, you have great priority, you have great momentum. Flip turn Swampert is fantastic. Swampert's a really good pick on this team. Um, but hazards are going to eat through your team. I mean, you only really have Mega to defog, who doesn't want to switch in on Stealth Rocks if it's not heavy duty boots, and then Combuskin with
then even
defog.
then,
But I
knock
don't
off.
think you're going to want to bring defog Combuskin, and you have no rapid spin user. So you have something that can absorb the toxic spikes. But if someone just starts to early game spike stack you or throw some rocks on the floor, like you're not going to want to switch around a lot, and this team values switching into defensive checks and then switching into things like Braylon to get spores and mock punches off. So you're going to have to rely on staying in too much, and I mean, your highest special defense stat is 90, and then it jumps to 70. Like, anything specially offensive is going to eat through this team.
Yeah, definitely. It's really, really rough. I feel like some of these Pokemon are also just not like fitting well with this team. Like Bisharp on its own is very good, but you don't have much to like synergize with it. Because you don't have a lot of like hazard setters, and even then you're gonna, like Matt said before, you're very weak to those hazards, so they're not gonna want to defog. Uh, they can rapid spin if you get rocks on their side, but like you're the one who's gonna be having problems with hazards for most of the time,
Yeah.
and not them. So having Bisharp with Defiant or something is just not gonna. It's not great. I don't really like it here. Like you got other options uh
And even then, the
to
only
pick,
hazards that
but
are going to be really set up are rocks. Like, odds are Haunter's
yeah.
not sticking around enough to get 2 toxic spikes up. And I just noticed it's also super fairy weak. I mean, steel types
Yeah.
steel types that are weak to fairy are not real steel types. And I love Bisharp,
Uh,
and I have it on my team, and I think it's a really good mon, but I think you have to build around it. And when Haunter and Magnanime are your only fairy resists, like a
yeah.
Gardevoir
They're
or
not gonna.
an offensive Florges, like this team's gone.
Yeah, it's not gonna look very good. Good fairy types just rock this team.
Like, this team looks fun though. Don't get me wrong. Farigiraf looks like it could be really good. Swampert, Breloom, Tyrantrum, Farigiraf, like that looks like a really fun core. But I think the Yanmega is too many points for what it's doing for you in this team. I think Bisharp is too many points for what it's doing for you in this team. I don't mind Combuskin. I don't mind Haunter. I think they're cool mons. Magnemite, I know you had to pick because you needed a 1-pointer, but like I think you went really high point with Breloom, Tyrantrum, Swampert, Yanmega, Bisharp, and then you had to pick from the bottom of the barrel. And I think you could, if you got rid of Yanmega, Bisharp, or something like that, you could really fix this team quickly. But there's a lot of work that I think has to be done to this to make this not just immediately weak to special offensive fairies.
Yeah, definitely. Uh, and like I said before, with just how much offense this team has with nothing else to support it, it's just gonna be really hard for this team to uh, be able to do things, I guess I'll say. Like it's gonna be really hard for you to set up if you don't have anything to wear anything down,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
if you
100%.
or if or if you don't have something to get rid of uh your rocks or your spikes or anything. It's just gonna be so hard for you. Not to mention, you don't even have a grounded poison either, so that those toxic spikes are just gonna rip you apart too.
Yeah. Where do you think this goes in the tier list?
Look at deals again.
I know
I
where I
think
think
this
it
team. I think it needs some work.
needs some work. Okay, I'm in between need some work and team overhaul.
I think.
I'll put it in need some work because I think you can fix this team by just adjusting the Yanmega and the Bisharp. But
Yeah, if
uh,
you can adjust a few things, but
and like Lanoon
uh,
is cool, but Lanoon is everyone knows what it's gonna try and do. So maybe Lanoon
yeah.
goes down.
Now that you mention it, team overhaul is also not looking too bad. So
I
I feel bad putting it in there, but
I'm gonna put it down there.
honestly, the more I'm looking at it, yeah, your team is just too offensive to do anything. It's just so hard to be able to do too much. So if you get some more defensive Pokemon with good real utility, I guess,
Yeah.
not to diss my man for a giraffe. Yeah, I think not looking good.
Yeah. All right, let's look at reycubos and the Indiana Infernapes.
Hey, where have I seen this top two before?
I don't know.
Uh,
They
hmm.
have Silvally, Tentacruel, Entei, Crocodile, my boy, Hisuian Electrode, Terra Agron with Steel Fairy and Flying, and that's their only Terra. Regidrago, Galarian Rapidash, Houndstone, and Chimchar.
Why isn't Chimchar
I don't know.
terrestrialized?
I don't know. Like, I know you're probably never going to bring Chimchar, but you could have at least given it a
Well,
Terra.
have it anyway.
Um,
Yeah,
So-
I don't know about that.
At first glance, I love this team. This looks so fun. I think it's really powerful. And then I see you don't have an immunity or resist to ground type anywhere. And I go,
Oh, yeah.
and I'm like,
Uh,
I love this team. And I think
Silvally-
it's really cool. I guess Silvally, yeah, but then you don't want to
Yeah,
be
but
forced to run
then you-
that every week.
Yeah. Then you're forced to run that, and then you're weak to rock, and then you're weaker to ice beams. And actually, no, you're not. You have the goat, Tentacruel, Tentacruel, and then you get a little weaker to electric, but
Like
yeah,
Silvally is a way, and I was talking to you about this before you drafted it. Silvally to
Yeah.
me is a way not to fill holes in your draft, but to boost the other aspects of your draft. So if you're using Silvally, but in your draft you need to bring a Terra Steel every week, I think you're using Silvally wrong. Or if you're using that saying, okay, I can just bring Silvally Flying every week, I think you're using it wrong. So when there's big holes in your team, you shouldn't always go, okay, what can I bring Silvally for that covers that, and then it's going to be forced into Terra Water or Terra Grass or Terra Flying every week, because it's going to be so much
Definitely.
easier to
And,
cut for.
I like you probably realized I dropped it in myself. And the reason I did is for exactly that. And like it helps you be not knockoff weak,
Yeah,
which is absolutely great. But yeah, you definitely have to be very versatile with it, and it can do exactly that. Like it has a lot of options for moves that you can put stab on, or you can run so many different sorts of sets. The only thing slowing it down really is the fact that it doesn't have reliable recovery. But other than that, like it has so much potential in a Pokemon. So I'm really glad it got drafted in this team because I think it can put in work.
agreed. Looking at speed tiers, I think they're okay. I mean, Hisuian Electrode I think is really good, especially in low tier. It's less good without
Oh, yeah.
Terra, but it's still solid. There's a pretty big gap to
Ooh,
105.
wait. There's an issue.
Yeah.
Look at the amount of ground resistances that they have, and note that the number is 0.
Yeah, oh no, that's what I was saying before. I'm like, no ground resistances
Yeah.
or immunities. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's the biggest.
Like yeah, you have Terra Agron with flying, but if you're running that every week, someone's just gonna start volt switching on you.
That's like that. That's what I'm saying. It's gonna be easy to prep for. But speed tiers wise, there's a big gap between 105 and 150, which I'd like something else to be there. But from 105 down, it's very solid. I mean, it fills every category. Like 80 to 92, maybe there's too big of a gap. But if you look at each individual Mon here, fantastic. Like Tentacruel is one of
Yeah,
the
definitely.
best rapid spinners and grounded poison types. Entei's one of the best offensive fire types. Crocodile is going to put in work. Give it a scarf. Give it knockoff. Give it rocks. Like fantastic. Regidrago is going to just click Dragon Energy. I think that's the move.
Yep, Dragon Energy.
And if you don't have
Absolute
a
banger
fairy
move.
type that can switch into it, something dies immediately. Like you have raw power in this team, while being able to cover for it defensively. I worry about your special defense again. You have a lot that sit at that 80 and 90 Oh, that's not true.
You got Tentacruel,
Yeah,
but
that's true. It's Tentacle, and then it jumps down to Houndstone and then Sir Valley, which are good. We don't really want to run those defensively every week, but I'm not too worried about it. Especially offensive.
I think this.
I think
Yeah,
could use
I think
some work.
yeah, definitely. If you're well, you got Regidrago for it, obviously, but yeah, not much is gonna be running it. I mean, you can run it with Silvally, and you're always running it with Electrode. But you have some very, very good physical attack.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And I mean, utility wise, I think it looks good. You have Crook with Stealth Rocks and same with Aggron, which I think is solid. You don't have a Spikes user, but I think you should, but it's okay that you don't. Tentacle with Toxic
yeah,
Spikes, plus Defog Rapid Spin on Silvally Tentacle. That's some of the best hazard removal you can get. You have good momentum with
yeah,
U-Turn and Parting Shot and Volt Switch on Silvally and Electrode. You have fantastic priority in Shadow Sneak, Houndstone, and Extreme Speed Entei. Like you have good utility throughout this team. It's just you're so ground weak.
yeah. That's like the main issue with this team.
Like a Zygarde 10% comes in, and it can hit.
Yeah, I was gonna say we got a Pokemon for you.
Yeah, like it, and that's gonna bump this thing down an entire tier list ranking. I think just because I think
Yeah,
like ground type's one of the best offensive types, and while it's less common to get unbelievable ground types in low tier, they're still here.
well, I would say it's this team it's I would say minor tweaks, but like the tweak that it has to be fixed is just so huge.
Yeah, I'm gonna say about. I think I'm
So it's
gonna
not
put it.
even a minor tweak.
It's major tweak. um,
Yeah, yeah. Well, let's put a tier in between. Just call it major tweak.
I mean, I could. Hold on. Add row below. Okay. Cool. Oh no. Oh, I changed the color of the
No.
wrong one. Hold on. Shoot. What? That was orange.
Oh,
Okay.
give us
And
one moment here.
whatever. Gray. And then major tweak. And bam, we get Jones.
Perfect. But
Um,
yeah, other than that, like this team it's so good. Like I'm
yeah,
a
no, I think it's a
really big fan of
fantastic
this
team.
team.
It's just, I think you have to sacrifice one of your really cool offensive mons like Entei or Crook or Houndstone or something to get a ground resist.
Yeah, and Aggron won't cut it every week.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna say it. It won't, because sometimes it's gonna need that steel typing that you do not have.
yeah.
So losing that for the flying type is great in some cases, but it won't always be good for you.
Cool. Let's look at that and the Scarfed Shaman. Take it away.
A scarfed shaman. Okay, so first we got Shaman. Surprise, surprise. Uh, Mega Ampharos, I'm a fan. We got Klefki, Gallade, Gyarados, Altaria, Muck, Houndoom, Brambleghast, and Whiscash. The Terror Captains being Muck with Poison, Steel, and Dark, and Whiscash being Water, Grass, and Steel.
Yeah, this is a
Now,
weird team. It's
yeah,
cool.
yeah, I have to agree. I'm a fan of it, but
I don't know what's happening,
yeah,
but I like looking at it.
it feels yeah, I do. Really good hazard setters and removers. I'm a really big fan of that for this team.
Yep,
But like,
agreed.
the more I'm looking at it, the more I am not enjoying the weaknesses you have.
Yeah, it's. I mean,
Uh,
a pretty
this
big.
team is very, very ghost weak. The like
Oh yeah,
poltergeists are gonna be very common in ghost types, so that's gonna hit this team pretty damn hard. Uh, the speed tiers is also just not great. You have 100 base speed in your shaman, which is great. We love shaman,
but
but
then everything else is below it, and you have like Dragon Dance potential in Gyarados, and I guess Altaria too. But that's really the only way you're
Altaria
able to
and
boost.
And
Oh, and
Whiscash,
Whiscash,
actually.
right? Yeah.
And
But
you
that's
got your
really the
screen
only way.
setter.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, and you got your screen setters as well, which is great. Klefki is a really, really good Pokemon, and I'm glad that it's been drafted on this team because I think it's gonna put so much work in. Like
Yeah.
the three types that you're like, four types technically that you're like super, super weak in, this Pokemon helps out with that too well. And if you're gonna be relying on Klefki every single week, it's just not gonna be great for you. But I think that it's such a good pick on this team. If you fix up your weaknesses a little bit with your other types, you won't need to worry about uh, Klefki coming every single time, even though you definitely can bring it every single time, but
Yeah.
I just think it won't be the greatest to bring every single time because you want versatility. And if you're running screens, Magnet Rise every single week or something, it's like screen, I don't know, like screens Thunder Wave so you can get your Dragon Dancer set up. It's like
For sure.
we know what you're doing now. we,
And
we we get what you're doing.
I think even just like looking at the stat distribution of this team, it's really solid. You have great physical and special attackers. Like I think Houndoom's going to do really well. Plus, I love Megaamphros. It's on my team. I think it's cool.
Oh yeah.
Especially like I think you're going to be forced to run Shaman defensively a lot of weeks, but that's okay. That's kind of what it's good at. And I mean, Muck defensively is really solid. I love the Terra Muck. I think that's going to be a cool pick. Klefki, like we
Oh yeah,
talked about, that's
definitely.
fantastic.
I hope
Um,
Whiscash can put in some wood too.
Me too. I want to see it do something. I'd like to see a little more momentum. I mean, you have Teleport on Gallade, but you're not going to want to do that a ton. And you have Volt Switch on Mega Ampharos, but and like I like a slow Volt Switch, but that's not going to be amazing. Your priority is really strong. 3 Shadow Sneak users, a Vacuum Wave user, a Quick Attack user, and a Sucker Punch user. That's really good. Plus, you have great like Gallade here is what makes this team. It's so strong. In low tier, and I was someone that was really hesitant on. I was confused why everyone was looking at Gallade and saying it was so good, and then the more I looked at it, I was like, wait, this mon's really strong. So
Yep.
even Shaman, Ampharos, Klefki, Gallade, Gyarados is really strong, but I think like Alteria's doubling up on types that you don't have to, and Brambleghast is kind of like I know it gives you rapid spin, but it kind of does what Shaman does. So it's the same situation we saw with Redsoxalex's team, where your first 5 are great, and then Muck and Houndoom I think are good, but like it's the second half of the draft that I think it's kind of started to fall apart, and it just started. You repeated what other things
Yeah.
did, and it made your weaknesses a little stronger, but I don't think it's going to take that much to fix this.
Yeah, I think I agree with that.
What would help with this? I
You,
mean,
you got a lot of offensive potential, but defensively, I guess it's kind of like just one single core from what I'm noticing.
yeah.
Like you got Klefki, you got Alolan Muck, and then you got like Brambleghast or Shaman sometimes,
Like I think the Altaria here probably isn't. How many
or
points
the
is it?
Altaria, yeah.
How many points is
But
it?
even then, like this team is very, very, very ice weak.
Yeah.
So
So
one freeze dry, and I don't
yeah,
know what you're
for
switching in
sure.
on it. Probably like
One, two,
Houndoom, but
three,
a
four.
lot of
Yeah, there's
a lot of ice
6 things
types,
weak to freeze dry on this team.
a lot of ice types or ice like users will have water coverage.
Yeah.
So that's really good to know. And yeah, you'll have your clef key, uh, but it's not gonna threaten anything like right off the gate.
Yeah, I
Uh,
completely agree. So I think like as much as I like Altaria, I think that you might want to look at other things to replace that. And Ramble Gas is really cool in this team, but you don't you don't need it for normal types, and it gives you another ghost weakness, and it kind of repeats what Shaman does. So it's looking at a few of those mons and seeing what you can alter or twist around, I think would really help. But I definitely think this team needs a few changes.
Yeah, no, I agree. This team has so much potential, but yeah, if you make those few changes, I think this team could be absolutely great.
Cool. I agree. I threw it in a few changes. 6 to go. Let's look at Joemama. We're
Well, let's
we're
go. Almost
rounding
there.
the end here.
Joemama. So let's.
Cool. Okay. It's actually at team 9, not team 7. I don't know why.
Oh well, whatever.
Cool. Take it away.
All right, so Joemama and let me see what they are. Again, the Tennessee Titans. I knew that. I just didn't think about it. Sorry. We got Incineroar, Starmie, Mega Audino, Machamp, Liepard, Oricorio, Cradily, Cleavor, Emolga, and Revavroom. Now, thing that I have with this team is like, it's a cool team, but I don't get it. I just don't get it. Like,
Maybe we just don't see the vision.
yeah, I wish I could see the vision. That's the problem. Like,
No, I agree. We were
I,
talking about this team earlier, and it's like
I,
I think
don't
it's
know.
cool, but it's also
Yeah,
it doesn't look like it's going to synergize well, even though it probably will on paper, because there's not a lot of huge weaknesses to look at here.
yeah, like it synergizes, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Speed tier wise, I think it's pretty cool. 115 Starmie. I always like to see things faster than 115, but in low tier it's a little bit different. But 115 to 106 to 103 to 90, like that's great. That's a good rotation. Like you're a little water weak, but Cradily is a water immunity and Starmie resisted, so I think it's okay. Plus Oricorio is listed as water weak, but it's not actually because it's not going to run the fire type every week.
True. Starmie also might not want to take things every single week.
For sure.
So it's kind of a problem that you don't really want, but
Starmie has good defenses though. It has 85 each.
Does it?
I didn't know that.
I also didn't know that. I thought it was a lot more frail. I thought it was a lot more frail. I'm not gonna lie.
Me too.
So maybe it does. Maybe it does. But this team is pretty Scald weak. The more I'm looking at it, like you got Revavroom does not want to take a Scald. Cleavor also doesn't want to take a Scald. Machamp can, but then also it's special defense. It's the same as Starmie, but it's okay with getting burnt.
Yeah.
The rest doesn't really want to take a Scald, except for like Mega Audino.
And I mean Cradily can switch in.
Cradily's your only real answer to that.
Now,
and then, like I said before, with ice weaknesses just happening, Cradily won't like the water and ice coverage.
This team does have some really cool individual mons though. You have, I mean, Cleavor, Incineroar, Starmie is such a cool core to me. Like Cleavor it's going to be busted in low tier. It's going to be able to set hazards with its silly little move, and I forget the name of it. Starmie with rapid spin, super fast, very offensive with it's analytic, and natural cure to switch out to. Incineroar with intimidate and knockoff and parting shot and flare blitz and other and Will-O-Wisp and stuff like it gets Will-O-Wisp, right?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, it does.
And knockoff and
it's gonna be such a
I'm
good,
just listing them again.
such a good utility mon. I have no idea if Mega Audino is gonna be good or not. It does get Wish, Heal Bell. I think it gets Baton Pass. It doesn't actually get Baton Pass. That's really funny. It could be good. I'm hesitant. Oricorio is a great setup sweeper. I love the Terra Liepard. I think Liepard's one of my favorite mons, but I think it's really good. Like I think there's a lot it can do. But I think this team actually is solid. I just don't understand it. Like I'm gonna have
Yeah,
I'm gonna
that's
have to see Joemama play with it to get it because the Machamp
yeah,
is cool.
definitely.
The Machamp is a cool pick. Like uh, my the first thing I would say if you had to change anything was get another special attacker higher than base 100 special attack. Um,
Yeah.
Oricorio can do that with Quiver Dance, but like you are lacking, especially offensively. Physical offense, you're fine, but you don't need. I mean, Incineroar's 115, Machamp's 130, Cleavor's 130, Reveroom's 119. I think one of those you can switch out in some way for a special attacker. I like the Machamp, but I don't think it's needed in this team, and I think that's a lot of points that you can use for a special attacker or maybe to get a little bit more special bulk or just something like that.
I think it's kind of funny because I was talking about how having a lot of like momentum and stuff is good, and not having a lot is bad. But I feel like this team has too much. I don't know how to.
Oh my god,
I
it
don't know
does.
how to. I don't know how to put it, but it just has so much momentum. I
Yeah,
think that was the
it's not
issue
even a
that I
bad
had with
thing.
it. Like, if you're going for like a vault turn kind of team, I don't mind it. But you also have like,
It kind of just feels like there's too many utility mons.
yeah,
Like
yeah. I
Oricorio,
feel like it's very utility strong. Like, you got
Oricorio is like
Emolga.
a niche use mon. Emolga is like a niche case use.
Emolga's just fast.
Yeah, and like that's
It's just fast at 103.
and it can run Nuzzle and it can run Volt Switch, but that's like utility based, and same with Lipard and same with Quidilly. Even Cleavor, like it's super
Yeah,
offensive, but you're running it to get rocks up
Stone
with.
Axe.
Yeah, and Mega Autono and like Stormy's very good, but same thing where it feels like everything is here for like a niche case or a specific use, and I think you just need you need a little bit more raw power. Like, and Machamp is good raw power, but it's slow and it's weak to a lot of common types.
Yeah.
And it has bullet punch for fairy types, which is really cool. But I think just sacrificing some of these like specific use case mons and get a strong fast special attacker like another one add on to Stormby, and I think this team becomes very good. I think this team only needs some minor tweaks, but
Yep, definitely.
that's where I'm at with it. Cool. Let's look at Lulz's team and the
Lowe's,
Eon. There's something about what is their team name?
what is
Hold on.
Carolina Eons.
Yeah, the Carolina Eons. Cool.
Nice. I like it.
They have Nidoking, Cobalion, Norvern, Diancie, Umbreon, Serena, Terra Guzzlord with Dark Poison Fairy, Terra Electrode with Electric, Ice, Grass, Galarian Mr. Mime, and Cutie Fly. So I'll start it off. On paper, it looks so strong. Like, it's really powerful. And this is a very good team. But this is maybe the most fairy weak team I've ever seen. With Norvern...
Hey, you've seen my teams.
Yeah, that's fair. With Norvern weak to fairy, and Umbreon weak to fairy, and Guzzlord weak to fairy, and Cobalion is not a real steel type. And Nidoking is your... I don't even... Yeah, Nidoking is your only resist.
It's not like a good. It's not a good resist.
Right, like it doesn't have great defense. I mean, an offensive. This was the same issue we saw with someone else, but an offensive fairy type is going to run through this team. But outside of that, this team is really good.
I think like the thing with this team is you're gonna be running Terra Steel. I think you have it Guzzlord so often. No, you don't even have it.
No,
You
it's
have
Terra
Terra
Poison.
Poison. Oh, I have Terra Steel. That's right. But yeah, it's not looking good. If you're, oh yeah, not you don't even have like a good steel type on this team. Like you got Cobalion, but it's not gonna be running
I mean, that's what
like for it's not gonna be run for its steel
yeah,
typing in defensive
that's the
situations.
Cobalion syndrome. It's a steel type that's not a steel type. But
Yeah.
outside of that, what I do think is a major tweak So maybe this is another major tweak category.
Oh
Um,
God.
I think this team's fantastic. I think your speed tiers are probably the best we've seen. 150 Electrode, 123 Northern, 108, 100. Big drop to 85, but I think that's okay. And like
Yeah, no,
they
that's completely
they
fine.
fill every speed tier you want to fill. Um,
Definitely.
physically
I
offensive,
love
I
the
think you're
speedsters on this
solid.
team.
You like Guzzlord, Deancey, and Serena are great physically. We know, especially offensively. Um, Sheer Force,
With the speed.
Sheer Force, Life Force,
Sorry.
Nidoking's fantastic. Deancey's really strong. Northern's going to be running Boom Burst and Hurricane and Draco Meteor. Um, I think offensively you're great, and you have great defensive coverage too. And like Deancey and Cobalion is a great defensive mon, even though it's not a real steel type. And Umbreon can switch in on everything, and Serena's got fantastic bulk. Like, you have a great team synergy here. It's just being able to deal with those fairy types.
Yeah, definitely. Uh, I saw Cutie Fly on this team too, and I thought that was pretty interesting with Sticky Web. I think it's pretty cool. I'm actually a big fan of it. Everything not base speed 123 and higher does benefit pretty well from it.
Agreed.
So I'm super happy that you got that, which is pretty good. You got a lot of type weaknesses though, which are really bad. You don't want to be fire weak because that's a pretty common typing too. And then ice, pretty bad type to be weak to, and ground also a very bad type to be weak to.
Yeah, that's true.
Uh,
Pretty big ground weakness. I mean, you have Serena and Northern, but when Cobalion's weak to ground and Nidoking's weak to ground and Deance's weak to ground, that's a big couple they have to
it,
cover for.
you know what? I'll just be glad that you're not knockoff weak. Like
That right?
you can take knockoffs like really well. Yeah, that's a good thing you got there, but in the process of not being knockoff weak, you're weak to like everything else.
Yeah, like there it's just typings right now. Like you have everything else in this team. You have fantastic hazard setting and removal with defog and rapid spin on multiple mons. Plus you have stealth rock and spikes and toxic spikes and sticky web, which is great. You have really good momentum with 2 volt switch users and 3 U-turn users and 4 baton pass users and great priority and ice shard and sucker punch and like you have everything going for this team. It's just your types are not synergizing as well as you'd want to, I think.
Yeah. No, I that's exactly what's wrong with this team. That's what I think. I think that's enough to put in the minor tweak tier.
Cool. I agree. Like this team can be really good really quickly, with just 1 or 2 changes.
Definitely.
Cool. Let's look at
Let's see what we got
GlitchyMix
next.
and
GlitchyMix.
the River Coast Critters.
There we go. So for this team here, we got Mega Abomasnow, Iron Jugulus, Porygon Z, Cloyster, Mimikyu, Arctozolt, Tatsugiri, Bastiodon, Shedinja, and Arbok. The only Terra Captain being Bastiodon with Steel, Ghost, and Grass. The thing with this team, where's your Terra fighting?
Yeah, that's fair. I like
We
I
didn't
like
ban
the,
it.
I like the Terra types, but if it's you have to go Terra fighting with Bastiodon.
Yeah,
I
I'm
get
pretty
the
sure
steel,
we had
I
a
get
pull
the
for it.
ghost. Yeah, we did.
I'm pretty sure we
allowed
had
it.
a pull up for it. Yeah, and we thought about banning it because it's just that good. I think if you ran it, this team would absolutely cook. But the main thing that I have with this team is like the speeches are decent. They're okay. Uh, you got your hail core, not hail, snow. It's snow now. Snow core. Uh, not bad on the special defense side. But it could get some improvements. Uh, I like a Mega Abomasnow here. I'm a fan. Shedinja not being weak to hail now, because it's not hail, it's snow, is actually kind of cooks now. I'm not gonna lie.
I didn't
I'm
even
a
realize
really big
that.
fan of that. But the thing with it is like it, you're pretty weak to the types that it wants covered, because Shedinja is weak to a lot of types that you don't want to be weak to. Like your fire weakness is absolutely insane. Uh, you don't got much as an answer to it. I feel like if you have Jugulus on this team as like a that kind of team, it's not looking too great. I feel like something like Cerulege even would look just as good in its place, except that it would hinder the speed tiers quite a lot. But oh yeah, and you're also tripling up on ghosts. But you know what I mean. Just something that can take those fire hits,
Yeah.
because fire is going to be such a big problem.
I mean, to me, this is a hyper offense team, which I think is
Yep.
okay to draft a team like that. You have Porygon Z with 135 special attack, and then Abomastar with 132, and then Jugulus with like 120, Tatsugiri with like 120, and then you have Arctozolt, which is good on both sides. And then physically, you have Mimikyu with it doesn't have a great attack stat, but it's going to run Sword Stance, play Rough Shadow Sneak, which is going to do wonders. You have Cloyster with
Yeah, it
Shell
gets
Smash.
Trailblaze as well now.
It does. Oh my god. Shell Smash Cloyster, you're gonna have to prep for every single week. Cloyster is one of my favorite mons, not just in draft, but in Pokemon in general to use, because it's so powerful. And like every week, you have to have something that's going to live a +2 5-hit Ice Shard.
Yeah, and
Spear.
even now with snow boosting your defense,
Yes.
it's now just it's a tank, man. That thing is taking every single hit,
I mean,
which I find is
180
kind of
defense is crazy.
it's interesting because like you have Bastiodon there as well, and they kind of do the same thing. That's the main problem I have with it, because uh, Bastiodon and Cloyster, they have kind of the same role. You can set up hazards, you can Shell Smash, you can Iron Defense. Like, they kind of just do the same things
I don't know what
with
speed tier you
different
think
types.
Bastiodon's getting to.
Well, no, but it has Iron Defense,
Yeah, that's fair. Like they're both.
and it can
I,
Terastallize. They have the same, like, setup potential, and they have the same, like, defensive stats, I guess I'll say. They're
yeah,
kind of doing the same thing on a team.
I've never seen a defensively run Cloyster, to be fair, though. Like, I know it can be run that way, and I'd like to see it come that way once,
Well,
but I
it
haven't seen
actually
it
has
yet.
really, really good support moves. Like, if you look at it, I'll show you right now, actually. It's got Rapid Spin. It's got, let's see, it does get screens. Huh.
It gets
Uh,
teleport.
like, it gets screens, it gets spikes, it gets toxic spikes, toxic teleport.
That's kind of cool.
You can, yeah, there's just so many things you can run with this for a good, like, defensive wall on the physical side.
There's also Arbok. We can't sleep
Uh,
on Arbok. Arbok's a cool mon, dude.
oh yeah. Oh yeah, Arbok is cool. I'm a
Intimidate
big fan
grounded
of Arbok.
poison adds to this team a lot. Good
But
attack stat.
in yeah, I don't mind the poison type here.
I think
I
this
really
team
don't.
needs some work for sure.
Yeah,
You're very weak with hazards. You have Bastion as a good stealth rock setter, but that's it. Cloyster as a spikes
yeah,
toxic spike
definitely.
setter, which is good, but you're not going to want to run that a lot. You have no defog user, and you have rapid spin
Because you,
Tatsugiri and rapid spin Cloyster, and that's it. And then you have no healing support, like no wish passing, no heal bells. You have pretty weak momentum. You have U-turn and Iron Jugulus and teleport and Porygon, and like that's kind of it. You have fantastic priority.
yeah.
Two good Ice Shard users, two
Oh
good Shadow
yeah.
Snake users, two good Sucker Punch users. But I think the weaknesses start to rack up here. I mean, outside of Bastiodon, 5 of your mons are weak to rock.
Yeah, no, this is
And,
really, really, really rough. And
yeah,
same thing with the fire type and the fighting type.
yeah,
You got a
pretty
few
fighting weak.
immunities, but you got some immunities, but it only gets you so far.
I,
And
I
then
think
if
the
you
front end of this team is cool. Like this is a cool offensive run team. But if you're gonna run offensively, I think you need like something to. You're offensive, but you're not
Support
super
it.
fast, and you're strong, but you don't have all of the supporting mons to cover for that. So I think you just kind of have to find the identity of your team here.
Yeah, it's even hard to like set up snow that isn't gonna last like 4 turns.
Yeah, because you can't run an item.
You can't run an item. You have to run a bombicide, which sucks. That really, really
I didn't
sucks.
even think about that.
Uh, yeah.
That's fair.
Which is gonna hinder. It's gonna hinder Arctozolt a lot. And yeah, you can get your Aurora Veil, but it's the same issue. You can't run Light Clay now.
Yep, 100%.
And then, like I said before, Cloister and Bastiodon are kind of doing the same thing. Only one can Terra and one's faster and has uh, multi-hit sweeping potential.
Yep. So
Tatsugiri, I don't even know what it's doing on this team.
I like Tatsugiri. It's overlooked.
It can
It's I
it
mean
can
it's got
rapid
Draco
spin.
Meteor and Rapid Spin. Like that's kind of cool. But it's
Yeah,
also
yeah.
it's
You're
a
not going to
pretty
use it
slow
to set up.
blast cannon.
Yeah, you're not going to use it to set up.
I think we're gonna throw this team in and need some work. It's between
Yeah.
the need some work and the team overhaul for me, but I think it's still it has just enough offensive threats to where a few tweaks and this team can really put in some work. But I think it needs some work.
I agree.
Cool.
That's a good place to put it.
Let's look at CBTrice and the New York Logan.
New York Lokix. Oh yeah, I love the Lokix.
CBTrice has Empoleon, Haxorus, Whimsicott, Mesprit, Poltegeist, Charizard, Bombardier, Terra Ampharos, which I think is sick, with Electric, Fairy, and Grass, Runerigus, and Terra Murkrow with Dark, Steel, and Poison. I really like this team. I think this team is really cool. It has, like, the Fire Water Grass core I think is really strong. Again, you don't need a core, especially in low tier, but I think it's helpful defensively to have covers to check everything. I think Empoleon is the best Pokemon in low tier in my mind. I think it's so strong. Empoleon, Haxorus, Whimsicott is such a fantastic front three, and then to get things like Mesprit and Poltergeist, and then defensively even, Bombardier puts in work, Runerigus puts in work, Murkrow's going to be really helpful and really cheeky, but you have a massive ice weakness. Empoleon is the only resist.
Yeah.
And then Runerigus, Bombardier, Murkrow, Haxorus, Whimsicott, all weak to it. Now, finding good offensive ice types are hard to come by. I mean, we just looked at the best offensive ice team before, which is funny, but good offensive ice types are harder to come by in low tier. But even things like Charizard does not want to take ice moves. Poltergeist doesn't have enough defense to take it. And same with Ampharos. Like, this team's so strong, but that is a big hole that has to be filled, I think.
Definitely. And I was just gonna mention this does not look like a low tier draft team.
No, oh my god.
You know what I mean? Like the rest kind of do, you know what I mean? But this one just looks like
This is like a good
draft
UU
team.
Yeah.
It looks like a good draft team if you got all of your like 19, 18 points sniped. You know what I mean?
100%.
Like this just looks it looks so good. But then, like you said, the weakness to ice is absolutely brutal. And ice is just such a common like type to like have coverage for.
Yeah, like Bolt Beam is gonna put in work. I mean, and offensively, like you're fantastic. Poltergeist with Shell Smash and Terra Ampharos, I think it's gonna be legit with the slow Volt Switch too. And Empoleon's gonna be able to run cool competitive sets, and Charizard and Mesprit I think it'll be super overlooked. And then Haxorus with 145 attack, like one of the best dragon types in low tier at all. And again, Mesprit and I think Bombardier is going to do like such a cool team. You just have to fill that ice weakness.
Yeah, definitely. Haxorus is going to be the star of the show. I personally believe. I really hope CBTrice, right? Yeah, I hope they make such good work out of it because there's so many sweeping sets that you have with it with amazing support from Mesprit. and you got Whimsicott, and so many good threats that you have if you can set it up correctly. Like, this thing gets skill shot now, and it has amazing coverage to get rid of the steel, not the steals, yeah, and the fairy types. Like, Axorus is such a threat. And then, oh, Mold Breaker. I forgot about that.
Nuts. No, this team's
Rotoms
so
are gonna
good.
die. Every single Rotom that exists is just gonna fall to this thing. Oh
And
yeah,
then,
did I mention this thing gets first impression?
oh my god, this Axorus is nuts.
And it gets Trailblaze and Sword Stance if it doesn't want to run Dragon Dance.
And I mean, even your speed to use here, like, maybe I want another thing over 100, but 116, Whimsicott, fantastic. Charizard at 100, Charizard could be really good. Hacks with 71, and then you fill everything from 97, I said 71. 97 down to 30,
Yeah.
you fill every spot you want to fill there. Plus, 2 Prankster users, a great defensive mon in Runerigus. I really like Bombardier. I think it's good. Like, it's just the ice, like. And then hazard-wise, you look great. You have 4 Stealth Rock users. You have Toxic Spikes and Runerigus. You have 4 good Defoggers. You have Healing Wish and Heal Bell and Aromatherapy. You have good momentum, 4 U-turn users, a Volt Switch user, like good priority, Aqua Jet and First Impression and Sucker. Like, everything works in this team. It's just your only resist to Ice is Empoleon. And I think if people can cover for that, this team's going to fall fast.
I think this team just needs another steal.
Yeah, like another Steel or... I don't even know what resist
Like,
Ice anymore.
Another, yeah, Steel. I don't think a fire type would. Maybe a fire type would work, but then it makes you more rock weak, which really sucks. But you get rid of your fairy weakness, which is great.
Yeah.
But
And like maybe
yeah.
that the mons I take away from this team is like I really like Poltergeist and Runerigus here, but both of those are giving you another ghost weakness, and maybe one of those like Mesprit's really strong here, but maybe you can get something that's gonna fiddle with that a little bit. I think this team goes into major tweak. We got a second one in there.
I'll be honest. Murkrow. I think Murkrow can be changed.
How many?
Like if you look at it and then
Murkrow's only 2
then look
points,
at
though. Like what else is there gonna be?
I will tell you. Well, I say that something that we can replace that with for good resist and stuff. So if we're looking for like a steel type or something, let's see what we can get. Let's see. Poniard is a potential option. Hell, you can even run like Floette, because that thing is just really good on the special side.
Yeah.
On the specially defensive side. Or you can go for a 1-pointer, which I'm sure there's something that you can run that's steel type. That wouldn't be awful. Like you could probably run like Lairon or something.
Yeah. Just anything.
Matang.
Anything to help with that ice weakness, and I think this team can become a great team really quickly. But I think right now it has to go into major tweak just because that's such a big hole to fill.
I think you just want to even out the things.
Cool. I take it away. We are at. No, I don't just want to even out the things. No,
I think he just wants to even out the things, guys.
No, it fits. That's where it's one big weakness. No, shut up. Whatever. Moving on.
Okay. Anyway.
We're looking at Magnanime and the screaming freaking Jigglypuffs or whatever. I don't care. You say the team.
Okay. Okay. Magnanime's got. Magnanime's got Cresselia, Gligar, Lokix, Marini, Hydrapple, Boltund, Grafaiai, Alolan Persian, Hisuian Typhlosion, and Waxwell. The Terras being Marini, a water, steel and fairy, and Boltund, electric, ice, and fire.
This is another
Speaking
one
of fire,
I'm just like, what's going on here? Like I don't see
honestly,
it, but it also looks cool.
I'm a fan. Yeah, I'm a really big fan of this team. Just for like
It looks really
The
scary.
top six look really good, but drafting Marini so early was actually kind of funny to me. But you know what?
It
It
looks
worked
like it
out
worked out.
because like you got a good Violate, grounded poison now, and it's a good water type too. Like good bulky water.
Yeah,
Like honestly, it's not. I don't dislike it
I'm just
picking it
confused
so
because I'm like,
early.
this team looks really strong, but I mean, Rini as a bulky water is not that good though. It has 62 defense, 52 spadef. Like, you Violate will help, but you also
It
don't
can take what it can get.
like you don't need it here. This is a really interesting team. I think the
Hmm.
speed tiers here are some of the best we've seen in all of Victini. 121 with Boltund, 115 with Persian, 110 with Grafii, 95 with Typhlosion, 92 with Low Kicks, 85 Cresselia, and moving down. Like those people are gonna have to adjust like so many EVs for your speeds, which I think is fantastic, and that's definitely the way you should approach. And I think 121 is your fastest. That's fine. Like, some of those flying types are gonna be faster than you, but you don't care about those. As a
Yeah, no, you
Boltund.
really don't. You got Boltund, you got Cresselia. You can encore with Grafii. Like this team, I'm a really big fan of this team. I think I think this is really cool. I think I can see the vision a little bit. You got really good priority, fast Pokemon, a really good defensive core. I'm a big fan of just the top two,
Yeah, it's just
Cresselia
really
and
bulky.
Gligar. I really like that,
Uh,
and the
they are
three
very
defensive core,
knockoff
I
weak
think it's
though.
pretty good. Yeah, they cover a lot, but you also got Sticky Hold Diplin.
Oh, that does get sticky hold, doesn't it? Diplin's
Yeah,
kind
you
of
might not run it.
sick.
You might not want to run it every time, but like actually, wait, you can just run it every time. Unless you're running like a really good offensive set with like Super Seed Syrup so you can hit your Dracos.
Yeah, Diplin's
Honestly,
Diplin's
I
cool,
see the
dude.
vision. You know what? I see the vision.
I mean, this
I'll
is
say it
like
right
a
now.
bulky team, right? Like, it's and I mean, not just immediately, but great defenses all around, great special defense all around. Like, it's not the bulkiest team, and I mean, special defensively maybe are lacking a little, but a bunch of things are going to be able to run Eevee Light and Grafii. Like, I've seen Assault Vest Grafii sets that are really cool, and Unburdened Grafii can put in a lot of work, and Alolan Persian with Fur Coat is really strong, and like low kicks, first impression, knockoff, that's gonna be able to do a ton of damage. And Hisuian Typhlosion, I think, is such an underrated draft pick. Like, it's fast and it's powerful. Um, I think a pretty big weakness in this team right now is hazards. Though you have one Stealth Rock setter, no Spike setter, and one Toxic Spike setter in Marini. Plus, Quaxwell can come as a rapid spinner, but I don't know how reliable that is. And then you only have Defog on Gligar. Um, which you can punish a defogging Gligar with an ice move or a knockoff. But outside of that, this team seems really strong, and I don't think you necessarily care too much about hazards anyway. Like, you don't want to get toxic, but you do have a grounded poison type, so you have two grounded poison type actually.
I think the main issue with this team is it doesn't have a steel type.
Yeah,
I think that's the only issue I have with this team.
because it's
Because if
little
you
flying
have
weak
like
and little rock weak.
it's flying weak, it's rock weak, it's
Dragon, like,
dragon weak, and you can resist a fairy better and dark and not dark bug, and then get rid of those weaknesses that you have. Like I can see that going pretty well if you do have a steel type.
yeah, and what are the I mean, Marini is Terra Steel, but Bolt on Terra, by the way, electric, ice and fire. That's sick. Bolton
Yeah, no,
could
I
be
love that.
really powerful. Um,
It's as strong as well. It's as fast. How fast is it
121 is such
completely?
a good
It's
speed tier. I
it's
agree.
375, which is really, really, really good. And then you got 90, 90, 90 for your attacking stats. So if you wanted, you could just run competitive or
Yeah.
you can run Strong Jaw, depending on what kind of set you want to run, which is absolutely insane. I think this is such a good pick.
And
And then you
competitive,
got
like,
does this got Terra Blast?
I don't
It does
know.
not. That sucks. That really sucks.
But I mean, competitive
Does this
is.
got Ice Fang? Wait, this thing doesn't
Oh,
get anything ice.
oh no.
Wait,
Does it get
wait,
Fire Fang?
wait.
Yeah, it gets Fire
No, there's
Fang.
nothing ice. There's nothing. There's nothing ice, but there's
Oh,
Fire Fang.
why did we go
Whoa,
Terra Ice?
oh god, why
Okay.
did we go Terra Ice?
Well, that's
You know what? I think a lot of people would have went Terra Ice, not
yeah.
knowing, which is
Um,
fair, but
I would probably
that's
change that to
really
Terra Flying.
unfortunate.
Just if you want. I'm sure it would be ground type. Terra Flying or Terra Grass probably.
I'd run Terra Fairy, honestly.
Yeah, that's fair. It gets play rough, right?
Yep.
Excuse me.
Oh man, that's so
That's so
rough.
sad. I would have done that too, though. To be fair.
Oh
Um,
my god.
but yeah, I agree because a steel type is probably going to give you another stealth rock setter and spike setter too. Like maybe you want to. I'd make a few changes to the team, but I think this team's solid. Like I think it's strong. I think it's bulky. I think you have good physical offensive mods. Like maybe you need a little more power, but this looks like a team that's gonna want to run defensively, and I think that's okay to be lacking a little bit of power. Um, it's just overall the base stats seem a little weak. So like maybe it is just this isn't a super strong team, but I think if you can run it well, I think this can get you a couple comfortable wins, like for a good long while.
Yeah, definitely. I think this is just a very good minor tweaks tier team.
Cool. I can do that. I'd probably put it in a few changes, but I can put it at the bottom of minor tweaks.
I think it's a minor tweaks kind of
Cool.
team. I'm a big fan of it. So
Uh,
last one. Oh my god.
oh yeah, we're here. Uh,
Home stretch, baby.
Tymnches,
Tymnches.
Tymnches, and the silly skitties. Take it away.
The silly skitties. Uh, so for this team, we've got Nidoqueen, Galarian Slowbro, Audino, Mega Camerupt, Drudigan, Cramorant, Miltank, Gourgeist, Escavalier, and Alolan Raticate, the Terra Captains, being uh, Cramorant with Water, Steel, and Ground, and Alolan Raticate with Dark, Ghost, and Normal. Honestly, I'm a fan of this team if it wasn't for the speed tiers.
Dude, yeah, I agree. This team looks really fun, but I don't mind. This looks like a Trick Room team to me, dude. This looks like a really, really
Oh
powerful
wait,
Trick Room team.
now that you mention it,
Like,
yeah,
yeah, I don't think you should purely run Trick Room teams in draft. I don't think that's super smart. I think you should have something over 100. However,
yeah, definitely.
um, let me see how
Honestly,
many mons get Trick Room here.
I'm a fan. I'm a
Yeah,
fan. I'm a
three
fan.
Audino, Gourgeist, and Slowbro get Trick Room. This is built to be a powerful Trick Room sleeping team with Nidoqueen, and like that's cool. Um, like again, a little bit knockoff weak, but I'm not too worried about it. Kind of flying weak because you have no resistances and there's a lot of strong flying types, but I don't think you're again too worried about it. Definitely ground weak. You have some resistances, but Nidoqueen, Camerupt, and Slowbro probably want to come every week, and they are all weak to ground, so maybe a better resist. I mean, Gourgeist is a fantastic mon, but a lot of ground types tend to run knockoff as well, or some sort of coverage for grass types. But outside of that, this team looks like this could be a sleeper pick.
Honestly, I can see it. I can see it.
I mean, like, God, this is a cool team. The more I look at it, the bulk's fantastic.
Yeah, I like. It's kind of like a more bulky like
This feels like
team.
a VGC team.
Yeah,
Like,
it
this
kind
would
of
go
does.
great in a doubles league. I mean, Gourgeist
Yeah.
is such an underrated mon. It's so fantastic, I think. It's good speed tier. Gourgeist plus Escavalier plus Drudigon plus Miltank defensively, and Slowbro, of course. Like, that's a great physical defensive core. special defenses is lacking a little bit, but Escavalier runs Assault Vest a lot. Cramorant can cover it. Drakeon can cover it if you need to. Autono's got big HP stat, so it can deal with it. And I mean, there's no huge special defensive cover, but your lowest special defense is 70, so your whole team can do it if you need to.
Yeah.
And,
So yeah, I think
yeah, no, go ahead.
yeah, no. I think like you said before, I think the main issue with this team is just a knockoff or just dark type moves being absolutely like dominant. You only got one resist in Eradicate, and even then that Eradicate can Terra Ghost.
Yeah, that's true.
And it doesn't want to lose its items that it may have. Because if I remember correctly, Eradicate Alola, it has oh, I thought it did have guts. I guess not. Well, it does have hustle,
It's thick
and
fat,
if you're
which is kinda
running,
cool.
yeah, I think that's pretty cool. If you're running hustle or something, and you want to run like, not evasion, accuracy boosting items, that might not be the greatest.
Yeah.
I don't know if this thing has home claws or not.
Dude, thick fat Eradicate with Drakeon and Escavalier and Gorgeist is kind of cool.
Yeah, I am a big fan of the kind of core that you've got here. If it weren't for like the speed tiers and stuff, but then again, you're probably running Trick Room.
It's I don't think teams that rely on Trick Room are always super strong, because you definitely I do think I like Alolan Eradicate and I think it's cool, but I think you should get something that's faster. And Nidoqueen, as much as it's very, very good, Nidoqueen might be the mon I change here. Like, you have a grounded poison type in Slowbro, so you don't need that. And Nidoqueen is strong, but looking in this 12-point tier, I mean, you have things like Rabombi, which could do really well on this team. You have things
What
like
about what about an 11? Because that's also an 11 pointer. And they don't have any more points for 12.
Oh, I thought it was 12, so never mind. But, like,
Oh,
you
you know
could, you
what?
could
Something
get
like
a Talonflame on this team and switch up that Cramorant. You need something that has a little bit more speed. Dude, how is Gardevoir not drafted in Muck or Victini? Like, I had to pick up Gardevoir and Grace because I looked at it and it is it's so underrated. But like a Tornadus Incarnate or a Staraptor, I think I don't like your flying type being Cramorant. But
yeah, that's fair. And anyway, it's gonna terrestrialize anyway.
yeah,
It's just kind of using its water typing.
but oh, you need better hazard removal though. It's only Cramorant.
Oh, is it actually? That's
Yeah.
not good.
Like,
I didn't even look down
getting
here
another
yet.
rapid. You know, I
Oh.
was just weird to focus on Trick Room.
Yeah, no, having rapid spin kind of sucks, but like
Toxic
maybe
Spikes.
maybe another defogger or two.
Yeah, Toxic Spikes don't really threaten you with two good grounded poisons, but a Spike Stack and a Stealth Rock could do a lot to you. But, dude, a Trick Room team with Trick Room, Galarian Slowbro, Mega Camerupt, Escavalier, Draudon, that's a powerful team. That could put in so much work. You just can't rely on that every week, and right now this team looks like it's going to.
Yeah. Having to rely on one or a few, not a few, but on one single game plan or something is not what you want to go for.
Yeah. Plus, Autono and Miltank are sharing normal type. I think they're kind of doing the same thing. So maybe play around with that a little bit. But this team could be really cool really quickly. Like, I wouldn't want to play this team because I don't want to play Trick Room. And I wouldn't know what to do. We might have lost gamer person here.
Hello?
Oh, you're back.
Oh, I'm back. Let's go.
There's also only Eradicate with momentum. There's no other momentum mons. So I do think this team needs some work.
No teleport?
No teleport.
Oh, no teleport.
No teleport,
Wow.
which is surprising.
Yeah, I'd put this team in a few changes, honestly.
I put it in a few changes and need some work for sure. But like, we'll throw it into a few changes because you have a really clear Trick Room core, which could be super super powerful. But I think there's a handful of things you need to change to make this a great team. But with a few changes, this can be one of the scariest teams in the whole league.
Hmm.
But with that, ladies and gentlemen, that was your Victini power rankings, a 2 hour and 15-minute video.
Damn.
I will spend some time
Right.
later today in editing this. Yep, we've been recording for over 2
Good
hours.
luck. Good luck.
It won't be bad. We'll just throw in some music. We'll call it a day.
Yeah.
But thank you guys for watching. If you agree or disagree, send it in the comments. Feel free to speak your piece. I hope we did this well. This was a lot of talking, so I gotta rest my voice for a few
Yeah.
hours.
Yeah, we were just kind of yapping a little bit, so
But I
yap
love
with
it.
us, like we wanna hear the people.
You know it. Well, thank you, ATP, for joining me in this video, and I will catch you guys later.
Goodbye, and subscribe to It's Just Matt.
Thank you.